Welcome to Jacket Jockeys with Justin.
And Jen,
Oh,
I've been practicing all week.
wow, that's tough for you. I can't.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
so.
I've let all other obligations, fall by the wayside in preparation for this moment.
It's very impressive. They
What
said
have
it would never happen. I've been re-listening, and you actually did that on a couple of the early ones, and then you
really?
reverted back to me.
Yeah.
So, and I thought you would stay there forever, but you didn't. Maybe it's a special thing for the
It's a
finale.
special thing for the finale, and it is the finale time that I will ever do it.
Oh,
Yeah, that's right. We're here to talk about the finale of
hey,
the critically acclaimed, life-giving, and life-taking Yellow
and life
Jackets.
consuming.
Oh, I see. Yeah,
Um,
because they eat people.
shit, correct. Hey, look at
Mm,
you saying the quiet part loud.
that's what I do.
Yeah, we're here to talk about season 3, episode 10 of Showtime's Yellowjackets, entitled Full Circle. No jokes this week.
No jokes this week. Um, yeah, I was so convinced it was called Sleepwalking, but that is just the name of the song that it
Oh,
starts with.
right. Yes, yes. So yeah, we made it to the end. All has been revealed
No
for
mysteries
for
remain.
whatever all is.
We did get quite a few answers here.
I guess like yeah, we definitely got we got like most of the answers I was expecting to get, but um questions remain. And I think because it won't really come up, I'll just say like one thing that did surprise me is that there is no adult Melissa at all in this episode.
Yes.
No one finds her. We don't go to her somewhere.
Yeah.
Nothing.
I found that surprising as well. If we hadn't had the line in the previous episode when she's killing Van and she says, you don't want to be like that, but I do,
Yeah.
then I would have just thought we're done with Melissa. If Melissa had accidentally killed Van in a
Yeah.
skirmish or whatever,
They could have done that.
they could have done that.
Hits her head on the fireplace or
Mhm.
some shit. Like
Yeah.
that's a classic thing.
Yeah, and then I would have thought, yeah, we're just done with her. We tied a bow, she
Yeah.
just served this one purpose.
Yeah.
I mean, I think especially when we find out in this episode that the letter was there and
It
it
was
said what she said it
it
would.
was as described.
Yes.
The way she portrayed it was absolutely accurate. So
So,
yeah,
I
it's
mean,
weird because it calls into question like what the fuck. Although I guess I can talk about that
well,
when we get to the note.
yeah.
But yeah, I really thought they would pick up something with Millet. Like, it didn't even have to be more than like, for example, like the Walter thing, right? We have like one quick shot of Walter, right? Which like I don't even know why it's here, but nonetheless, like they did it, right? So they could have done something like that for Melissa. Wouldn't have taken up any time.
Yeah.
Just something to say, like, what's she up to now? Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
It's not clear. Like, is her whole family life gonna fall apart now? Like, presumably, like, I wonder what the
Yeah.
future holds there. Because it was an intriguing thing to like cut to all of a sudden, and it definitely made me question everything. I was suspecting her of being involved with maybe Callie and Lottie too, and all that, which was wrong, obviously.
Yeah, you had a
Um,
good crackpot theory.
I did, which was wrong.
It was wrong, but it was a good one. I liked it. I
Yeah,
liked
well,
the
it would have helped. Yeah, like my theory was basically that it was Callie and Melissa involved in Lottie's death, and that could have gone down in various ways. Like Callie interrupts, or Melissa interrupts, or something. Something where both of them are involved. Um,
but based around an idea of what if Callie got the
yeah,
note?
and she contacted Melissa from the note, basically. And like for example, that could have explained how Melissa knew what happened, the stuff from the end of season 2 that she described, right?
Right.
That like Now there's no way she knows that. Like they have no there's no in-show explanation for why she knows
Yeah.
that stuff. I think they just fucked up. I think they just didn't they know what happened, so they just think like, well, everybody knows, right? It's like common knowledge. And it's like,
Mhm.
why would that be common knowledge?
She also orders from that, 3-star Chinese place that has no vegetarian.
Right. Right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, we'll have to talk about that. But yeah, I think it's interesting to leave that so hanging. Like I don't know, like because a lot of this episode did like close a lot of plot lines pretty
Mhm.
convincingly.
Yeah,
So I don't know. And but they didn't leave it like a cliffhanger either. Like they
right,
just didn't really talk about it. And
right.
so like I don't know, that was weird
She's
for
just
me.
kind of still floating around out there.
Yeah,
And she may come into play as we whatever next season is going to
yeah,
look like in terms of the conversation between Ty and Misty that Walter is observing,
right. For whatever reason.
Yeah. Um
Unclear.
I mean if Walter is just spying on Misty.
Which is what I assumed, but
Um
like why? Like I don't know, like what exactly is the plan now, Like I don't know.
yeah, I don't
I
know.
don't know what they're doing with that character. It's weird to me. Um
I, on the other hand, found myself highly vindicated by this episode.
Total vindication.
I, yeah, it was exciting.
But I will say that my big hang up with the Cali theory was to do with the tape. And they
Yeah,
did incorporate the tape into the
yeah,
story.
we
So I think that
definitely,
at least showed that my hang up was validated. It didn't
yes.
occur to me they'd have such a sort of straightforward way of maneuvering that in a way doesn't even make sense to me, but whatever.
Yeah, your hang up was validated, and I didn't have that hang up. But obviously it was getting at something. So you're talking about Kelly's reaction
Yeah,
to the tape when she finds out that Lottie
yeah,
was murdered,
yeah,
because we find out in this episode that Lottie had taken the tape
yeah,
from Callie, which I definitely didn't
yeah.
predict.
And that, so my read of it now is that it was like, um, oh shit, I don't know what this tape is. Like,
Right.
like I've been dealing with this Lottie thing, and like that's what I'm all freaked out about. But like there was this tape, and I have no idea what it is, and it could be something. So like I need to just fucking come out with it now. I feel like that's really where she's coming from there.
Yeah.
Which like makes sense. Like now that I know what the context was, it makes more sense
Yeah.
because that was a thing that she went. I mean, that's why she went there to get the tape. Like
Right.
that's what they say. So,
Although, I mean,
oh God.
well, we'll get to it.
I know what you're thinking,
Yeah,
and
we're all thinking it. We're all thinking it.
there's, there's always some bullshit hovering around any
He
Lottie
thinks,
scene.
I mean, Kathy thinks that she went to Lottie to get the tape.
Yeah,
But of course, Lottie knows that
yeah.
it drew her.
Lottie knows the truth, as always. Lottie's just always dead on with everything.
Yeah,
All
such
right.
wisdom.
Well, you ready to dive into all this?
Let's dive in.
Okay. So I just have to complain a tiny bit about previously on.
You
You know me. You know me.
you usually don't complain at all.
I just
Certainly not about the previously.
the thing I don't know if it's actually it's not really complain about the previously on so much as about the show because I feel the way they cut the previously on showed that the people making it were like, yeah, the way we've played this in the show made no fucking sense. So let's recut it where when Shauna says, "No, you're not going anywhere," we show her holding the gun as though she was holding them at gunpoint, saying, "You better stay here," which is absolutely not what happened.
It was emotional gunpoint.
I guess. I guess. We'll get back to that when we get to the grand conspiracy, but yeah, I still feel like that beat in the story doesn't add up. I it's a hard one. I don't have a clear way to fix it. It's sort of like we just need to like get over this point so we can move to the next thing. But yeah, I feel like there should have been a little more like justification for why it went like that.
Mm-hmm.
Even if they're like whatever, I mean, just tie her ass up. Like they could easily. She's
Yeah.
not that fucking. Ty stands up to her in this episode, right? And it's like, yeah, like I
Yeah.
bet most of you could take her on if you wanted. Like she's not like the strongest person in the world. Like Jesus Christ, like she's a bully, but not, like she can
Yeah.
only do so much. So anyway, whatever. We'll come back to that. Um uh so uh so starting with the C.
Let's
So
start.
this opening bit is like a real hot mess to summarize because we have like some past stuff and then it sort of transitions to present day in the middle. It's so anyway, I'm gonna do my best to try, and there's also flashbacks within the past, so it's like oh, it's
Yeah, yeah.
it's a real,
And
and
then
it's like a stylized fantasy dream
it's
sequence.
yeah, yeah. It segues into the stylized fantasy dream sequence, or maybe it's back and forth between that.
Yeah, it kind of goes back and
Um,
forth. Yeah. I guess
as she finds herself sleepwalking,
the
the not titular activity.
the right. The through line here I do think is that this is I feel like what we're seeing here is like something like Lottie's death dream. I feel like
Yeah,
that's the idea because it has that kind of structure with the younger version there and like saying some vague weird shit. Of course, Lottie always says vague weird shit, so that's
that's
normal for
true.
her. But you know,
Yeah, but we see with Van's death,
yeah,
she is interacting with the child version of her and the adult version of her, and then Natalie had something like that.
yeah, exactly,
Um,
exactly. Yeah, the adults who have died, yeah, they did that kind of thing. So yeah,
we
I
got
think
that weird dream for oh man, what's her name? But Laura Lee, but she never made it to an adult.
right. Are you talking about Laura
Oh
Lee?
no, I'm not. I'm
You're
talking
talking about
about
Jackie?
Lottie's.
No.
No,
Oh,
I'm talking
sorry.
about Lottie's dream
Oh,
when she almost dies and she
right.
sees
The
Laura
mall
Lee. The
one.
mall
Yeah,
thing.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But
Yeah. I think that was like an almost death
then
dream.
the dream that or the vision that she has when she gets baptized
Yeah,
is
incorporated here.
incorporated here.
Yeah. Which I mean confirms what most people thought that that's what they were alluding to with
Yeah.
the staircase and the candles, and that she probably set those up. I think that's pretty much confirmed in this
Yeah.
episode.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't show that, but I think it's heavily implied.
Yes, definitely.
Okay. So yeah, it's a stylized sequence. We have Lottie. This is the past at this point. So this is teen Lottie or T Lottie if you prefer sleeping. And then we see some woods, and then we see the cave, and then there's like a shadow on the cave, and then we see like the super antler queen. I don't know what that is.
Mm-hmm.
It's a weird thing that I guess they thought looked cool. It does have adult Lottie's voice later, for what that's worth, but not here. Okay, so meanwhile, back in the past, normal world, we have a mob going to Natalie's tent for a quote bed check. Hannah's there as well, right? She's joined in. Remember from the previous episode? She's like, I want in. They go through Natalie's shit. Misty comes out to see, and then at that point we get a further flashback where it's picking up where we left off in the last episode with Nat yelling at Misty that it's her fault they're stuck out there because of the transponder. Misty apologizes and says she wished she could undo it. Now punches her. Misty asks if she will tell everyone, and then Nat asks how can this get us home. Misty explains about the the sad phone, and Van's trying to fix it. Then back at the camp, present of the past, Misty tries to talk to Nat, but she says, "Don't talk to me." They finish the bed check. Nat's place is, quote, clean. Misty exchanges a knowing look with Van. They go back to bed, and then we see Cody's head on a spike with arrows through it, which they will cut to later to indicate the passage of time, I think. Um, and also I guess this suggests that they ate Cody. Even though they didn't eat Edwin for whatever reason, they just weren't hungry. It was too soon. I don't know.
Yeah, there's a line later where Hannah says that
Yeah,
she ate people, which must just be
yeah,
Cody.
that's the one they ate. So yeah, that is absolutely who that has to be. And you know, it fits with Coach Ben's head being there too. Like it's like a thing they're doing now. So back to Lottie, T Lottie. We hear adult Lottie as Antler Queen. That's the voice. At least that's what it sounded like to me. Saying, I am ready. My will is your will. I guess, yeah, it's sort of like personifying it. That seems to be how they're like treating this. It's like Antler Queen as as an avatar for it, the spirit of the wilderness.
Yeah.
That is seemingly how she thought of it before too. I feel like they kind of played it that way in season two as well. And then we have Teen Lottie and the Antler Queen mirroring, holding their hands to the side. I don't know how to describe this gesture.
Yeah.
Like with arms wide open. I don't know. I don't know what you call that. But anyway, it's a weird little gesture. And then Lottie screams. There's no sound heard though, and kneels. And then they cut in some stuff from the past. They're very flash cuts. Like I couldn't quite see. I don't think it really matters if you can't actually tell what's happening. It's stuff from the past. I saw a couple of bits in there of stuff that Lottie's done on the show. Um, and then now suddenly T Lottie is in the morgue and A Lottie's there on the slab like we saw earlier, but then suddenly she sits up asking if she missed it. T Lottie says we didn't miss anything. Do you remember what we promised? And A Lottie nods, and T Lottie says it's time to meet her. A Lottie gets up, and we see her walking through the tunnels in the vision from season one, arriving at the candles, and they cut in a sound of a baby crying in the background here for what it's worth, trying to sell it.
Yeah.
And then we cut to A Lottie at the bottom of the stairs in the apartment building where her dad lives, where she died. And A Lottie says, are you there? As we go into credits.
Wow. The bar is standing up for the credits. Yeah. Yeah, I there was this thing that happened when the Lottie, teenage Lottie and the Antler Queen are like mirroring each other, where the Antler Queen's fingers start to grow into tree branches. It looks really
Yeah,
cool. And the
yeah,
screaming with no sound is also just a classic effect.
yeah.
Um, it
Definitely.
makes me think of like Twin Peaks or something, but
Yeah,
yeah, I like it.
yeah. Yeah, like it. Do you have any idea? Like, I mean, I really at this point I feel utterly hopeless to even consider like making sense of what Lottie says. But like, does any of this make sense to you? Like this stuff about like, did I miss it? Do you remember what we promised? It's time to meet her. Like, does any of that make
So
sense to you?
I think that it's time to meet her. I interpreted in hindsight as being the child of the wilderness, meaning Callie.
That is
Um
what it seems like. But then I feel like, so you're saying Lottie is still alive having this dream as an adult?
yeah,
Or,
yeah, my because the candles aren't there yet.
yeah,
So
that's true.
so my interpretation is she was sleepwalking, having that vision dream.
Okay.
She wakes up having sleepwalked down to the bottom of the stairs, and then uh sort of reads the dream as an indication that Callie's coming. She needs to prepare for this moment.
Okay.
And then she goes and sets up the candles off screen.
So that means it's not actually a death dream. And the other thing that's weird about it is that it cuts from clearly teen Lottie sleeping
Yeah.
to this, which implies she was the one dreaming this. But like that can't be true with this adult stuff. right? Although technically she did live there, right? They talked about that.
Yeah. So
So like she would have known about that building. I mean, she wouldn't like be able to accurately predict what she looks like as an adult, but like you could
mhm,
bullshit that, I guess.
yeah.
Like I don't know if there's anything in there that has to be from adult Lottie. I actually think no.
So don't ask me what, because I'm not going to remember, but I want to say there was another time when they filmed something that started out as a dream in of one of the kid versions and then became a dream of an adult version.
Well, yeah, so there was a thing like that, or maybe like that, or just a few episodes ago when
With the
Shauna's
insect,
yeah,
the
Shauna's dream
locust,
about the
the moth.
moths and being in the
Yeah.
grocery store where
Yeah, yeah,
it
yeah.
cuts to her waking up, but then later in the episode they show teen Shauna seeing a moth and they flash to the moths from the dream.
Yeah.
So yeah, I
There
feel
you
like
go.
that's sort of a version of that.
Look at that. You remembered, so I didn't have
Hey,
to.
that's what I'm here for. Okay. I still feel like it functions like a death dream, even if it's
Yes.
not technically.
Yes, I agree. Well,
Um,
because she doesn't get a death dream because of the, well, I guess
yeah,
they could have given her a death dream anyway, but when they show the death, they want to focus on Callie.
I think that's a problem. It's because it's part of the plot. It's not yeah, and because the focus of what's happening in that scene is yeah, like when you think about Natalie's death, it's like an accidental thing, and Van's death is like wrapped up with like Melissa and stuff. So there, you know, she just runs. So there, you know, there's no like need to focus on Melissa at that point, so you can kind of dial it in. But yeah, in this case, it's sort of a reveal. So I think yeah, I think that's part of why too. But I feel like this is it's like sort of a substitute for that because I feel like if she did have a death dream, it would have some of this stuff in it,
Yeah, yeah.
you know. So um anyway, yeah, this weird. What
But
can I
yeah, I'd be
say?
curious what other people's interpretations were of those lines.
Oh yeah,
Especially the first couple of lines.
yeah,
Like, did we miss it?
yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah.
miss what?
Yeah, yeah. Do you remember what we promised? Like, promised who? Like, what are you talking about? Anyway,
Yeah.
it's like, I just, I don't know. I thought maybe at the end I'll understand this, and I never did. So,
Yeah, but something
anyway,
promising happening around the baby, the first baby.
maybe. I mean, I don't remember any of that.
Like that this baby's gonna change everything. I don't remember. It's
I
been
mean, she does say something like that. She
forever.
does say something like that, but like, I don't remember explicitly a promise, but
Yeah.
whatever. Um, okay, so yeah, I just wanted to talk a little bit about um, I think they gave now like to me it was maybe it's just the force of the acting. Like normally I am dissatisfied like it's I'm thinking about like in season 2 when they all find out that Jeff was the blackmailer and sent the postcards and all that, right? It's kind of like, oh man, you did what? And then they move on,
Yeah.
you know? Because it's like in a way they're not ready. Or like there's a thing like this on Lost, involving Charlie and like pretending to be another kidnapping son and
Oh
like
yeah.
right and she finds out about it later and then she slaps him and then it's over, like, and it's just like,
Yeah.
but I feel like the way Natalie played the moment like made it seem like she understood the gravity of what it meant, like that like potentially they could have avoided a lot of this if Misty had made this one decision. And I also appreciated the fact that Misty was obviously genuinely regretful about having done it.
Yeah.
That it was a snap decision in the moment, and like if she knew what it was gonna come to in the end, she wouldn't have done that.
Yeah. Agreed.
That's clear at this point. So yeah, I think it was a decently finessed version of like we need to get from Natalie's gonna be like shocked and angry about this to okay, now we're going to do a plan together.
Yeah.
You know, because ultimately, I can't change what happened, but what I can do is try to get us out of here now.
Yeah.
And that's what Misty's offering initially anyway. So it's like, okay, so how are we getting, like, what's the plan?
Yeah.
you know okay. And then the other thing I wanted to talk about was the bed check. Like, this is a weird thing that, like, they don't really explain. It's like they come in to check Natalie's tent. I think, reading between the lines, it's like she goes and catches Hannah and Cody about to escape.
Yeah.
Hannah's like, Cody gave me the knife, right? And he's
Yeah.
like, you're a liar. And she stabs him. And then, like, she's like, I want in. And like, I feel like you could take from that that, like, Shauna didn't really believe that it was Cody. Therefore, who would it be but someone who's, like, against her agenda, like Natalie, for sure.
Yeah.
Or one of the others, but, like, in this case, that's who they're searching. So, like, they're, yeah, like, looking for a weapon. Like, I don't think that she knows about the transponder. I'm like 80% sure that she doesn't know about the transponder.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think she suspects that something's going on and assumes that it's another kind of ploy to escape or
Yeah.
to so I my yeah, so my guess is they're searching the tent for a weapon.
Because that's the thing, like, their plan at that point wasn't even to use the sat phone.
Right.
The plan was Cody's the guide and he's going to take us to some place,
Right.
right? So it's like, okay, maybe they try,
Yeah, my first thought was, oh, she knows about the sat phone because some people did know about the sat phone,
yeah,
including Hannah, could have said
yeah,
something.
yeah,
And if they know that the sat phone was hidden, then they know somebody among them did it.
yeah.
Um,
And Van and Thaisa knew about it too because they found it.
right. And Van is like in on it.
Van is in on it.
So
Thaisa,
she's not gonna say
I'm
anything.
not sure actually. We can talk about the Thaisa scenes. The second time I was like, I'm gonna watch closely and see if it's clear whether she's in on this plan or not. I'm actually not sure.
Yeah, it's pretty convoluted, and there's kind of two plans. Yeah, well, there are two plans, and I don't know for sure that the same group of people are in on each one. In fact, they're not. But
Wait, what are the two? Oh, you're talking
well,
about
I
the
just mean
cards?
like the rate. No, I guess there are three
Oh,
plans. So I mean, okay. So I was talking about who knows that they're fixing the sat radio.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think that's the kind of thing that you would want to keep really close to the chest. Um, but then I guess it is all this, I guess, because I mean, they're creating a diversion so that she can get away to higher ground
Yeah.
with the radio. I just think it's very risky to let so many people in on a, a plot. Well, I don't know.
Well, as an anti-conspiracy person, I definitely agree. The more people involved, the more likely a leak is going to happen. But I think what we are meant to believe, assuming it's true that most of them knew, which I do believe, like, I think maybe Lottie didn't know about it. Thaisa, I'm not, well, Thaisa knew about it because she found the thing, but I don't know if she knew about the plan.
Right.
So
She knew there was a
she knew there
radio.
was, yeah, she knew that thing existed. But for the rest of them, I mean, because that's the original team stay, right? Is
Yeah.
those three.
Yeah, but
Like,
yeah.
so my assumption would be that the others, seeing the way that Shauna was behaving, like, we're inclined to throw in with, okay, let's deceive her so we can have a chance
Definitely. So,
to
but
work the thing,
my
and they
yeah,
felt like they could do it because of how outrageously Shauna had been behaving. That's my
I
best.
definitely agree with that. I'm merely asking, and it doesn't even really matter. Whether they all knew about the radio versus they just knew that there was a plan
Yeah,
and that,
yeah. I can't prove one way or the other about that. I mean, Hannah knew about it for sure. Misty and Natalie knew about it for sure. I can name like characters who knew about it for sure. The other characters where they just told some vague, we got a way to maybe get home, and they were just like, okay. I mean, it's possible. I can't prove that's not true.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know that Hannah knew for sure that they were fixing the radio.
There's well,
No.
I'm just saying she knew there was. Well, actually, I think she did because I feel it's implied by the scene with Natalie and what ends up happening.
I feel like this scene with Natalie, it's like she knows that something is happening and she wants to be helpful.
But Natalie goes and grabs I think she has the radio at that point.
Okay. I'm saying at this point in the episode, Hannah doesn't know.
At this point, sure, sure, sure. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But I'm just saying, I think maybe she learns later.
Fine.
But like in a way, it doesn't matter.
Correct.
Because like the point is that they're going behind Shauna's back and participating in this fairly elaborate conspiracy to do something against her wishes. Um, so yeah, ultimately, I mean, I don't think we'll ever know the finer points of who knew what.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter. It's just it is a little bit convoluted.
I think it's quite.
And I mean,
convoluted.
they're trying to maintain the element of surprise so they're not tipping any clues. And I know you found some clues when you rewatched knowing where it's going.
Yeah.
But anyway.
There are a few small hints, but they are definitely quite subtle. And I mean, I didn't the first time pick up that that's what was happening. So, um, okay, so you ready for the next scene? All right, so we're back to the present. We got Ty and Shauna driving through the woods with Van in the back of the van, if you will. Shauna tries to say that she knew Melissa was a threat, but Ty shuts her down. They pull off somewhere. Ty opens the trunk. Shawn offers to help, but Ty refuses. Ty grabs Van. Later, Ty finishes digging a grave, pushes Van's body into the grave. We get some quick flashbacks here, mostly from the past. Um, Ty says, I'm done forgetting. I'm going to remember all of it, all of you, and all of me. And then she stabs Van with the knife, digs around for a while, pulls out the heart, and takes a bite. Shauna waits in the van. Ty arrives back with the shovel. So what we all expected they would do, which is
Say more.
bury Van's body and eat her heart. I mean,
Yeah.
wasn't that what everyone was saying last week?
Yeah, I was not expecting that until they pull off the road.
It's weird because they did that with Javi. They
Uh-huh.
had Travis like eating Javi's heart, and I thought like, oh, that's weird. I don't
Yeah.
know, but like, it's like she's making it a thing.
Yeah, we haven't seen that since the
No,
holiday.
it's not established that it's a thing, and well, so yeah, part of this is definitely ties like disillusion with Shauna.
Yeah.
And but part of this, it's like going back to the thing you said last week, right? I hate to so like, when Van dies, she's having her little dream, right? The teen version, or she says like, well, I died. Like I was supposed to get the treasure, and it's supposed to be a hero's journey and stuff. And so the teen one's like, yeah, well, you brought back the love of your life. That's the best treasure of all, or something like that, right? And you were like, we better not see the bad one again after that, or it's gonna be all in vain, because like that didn't happen. So it seems to me like what they're doing here is a full, this is the term I saw on Reddit, reintegration.
Reintegration.
Just to
Yeah,
bring in some severance
I love that. Yeah,
language.
for the all of me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
all of me. Yeah, it seems to me like that's what they're trying to imply there. That like
Yeah, I agree.
that is a part of her that she has like separated or isolated, and now she's gonna like just admit it all in there. And this is about her. So it's like, is that really what Van wanted? I don't
It's not
know.
what Van should have died for now.
It doesn't seem like it. So yeah, that's a weird thing, and it's like okay, Thaisa, like yeah, Shauna's the only one with problems here. like if you say so.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right, ready to continue?
Yeah, let's do
All right.
it.
Callie smokes under the bleachers like she's in a fucking 1980s high school
Yes.
movie.
But she's vaping. That's
But she's
what's
vaping. That's how we know
different.
it's not the
That's what's
80s.
different.
Good point. Good point. Misty arrives. Misty asks Callie about being drugged. Callie admits it and explains. Misty asks if Callie got the answer she wanted from Lottie that night or right before you killed her. She was like, she prepared that
Oh
line.
yeah.
Like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, I'm gonna get her
Like
with my
she's
fucking Columbo
David
minutes.
Caruso
Yup,
in Miami. CSI Miami.
that's right.
Ah,
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Go to credits there. Why didn't they do that? She's got glasses too.
it does.
Anyway, Callie acts shocked. Misty holds up a photo of her in Lottie's phone with the necklace on, and then mentions the DNA. At first, I thought it
Told
was.
you.
At first, I thought it was your mother. I'll come back to that. Callie breaks down and says it was an accident. Misty advises her to tell her what happened. Callie says it started with the tape. After what happened at the end of season two, she knew they were keeping secrets, and then the package showed up. We see her get the tape. We find out that Lottie took the tape before getting kicked out, but she told me she was staying with her dad in the city. So Callie went there to find her. She finds Lottie coming out of the staircase, just having set up the candles, presumably. They go back in.
And lit them all and then left the building.
Yeah, it's like she knew Callie was coming.
Just
I
don't
mean,
do don't
that's how it comes off.
Hey kids. Remember my advice about the carbon monoxide detectors last week? This week my advice is don't leave approximately 500 candles burning unsupervised.
They go back in. They're not unsupervised for long. We see the candles there. Callie asks for the tape. Lottie withholds it. Lottie walks down the stairs and says that's not why she's there. She's there to understand Shauna. Lottie offers to tell her anything. Let's do truth or dare again. Yay! Remember those
It
times?
was
Good
so
times.
fun.
Callie asks if Shauna doesn't love her. Jeff thinks it's just PTSD, but Callie says she does normal mom stuff, but then she looks into Shauna's eyes and they're so cold. Lottie says it's like looking straight into the earth. Callie agrees and asks, "What is that?" And Lottie says she knows, but Callie says she doesn't. Lottie says it's it. Sorry.
It's it.
What is it? Anyway, she feels it. Lottie saw it when she held the gun and when she drugged Misty. Lottie claims that Shauna felt it more strongly than the rest of them, and she sees it growing in Callie. She says it's the pulse of life. That's why they did those things, eating and hunting each other, and couldn't stop. Callie asks what's on the tape. Lottie says it doesn't matter. It did its job. It brought Callie there. It's child. Our child. Callie freaks out and tries to leave. Lottie says, when its power starts to flow through you, you will understand. Callie tries to leave again. Lottie says, you are the child of that place. It took our baby and it gave us you. Grabbing Callie's hand. Callie freaks out, saying, Shauna's right. Lottie's not well. She shouldn't have come. Lottie says, you only could have come here. She's been waiting 25 years. She, Shauna, can't love you because she's jealous. You're just like her, but more so. Callie pushes her and she falls down the stairs and instantly regrets it, going down to check, crying, but finding Lottie dead, she takes the tape and runs out of there. Total vindication. Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, a little different from how I thought it might play out, but yeah. it's pretty tense arguments on the edge of a staircase.
Yeah, I know. I was thinking, I'm like, I mean, it's like you know where it's going, so it's like, well, they
Yeah.
they gotta set this up. But yeah, I was like, Lottie, why are you standing like that? Like at least go to the wall or something, so it's not like so easy for you to fall. But anyway, obviously they don't want to do that. Yeah, uh so what can I say here? Uh there's some lines about the necklace later, so we can talk about that a bit more. The necklace thing's unclear to me. But I just want to mention it.
Yeah, the necklace thing. Are we going back to the bleachers? Is that
Yeah, I mean that I did that as like one long scene
yeah.
because it's sort of all integrated
Yeah.
together.
I'm kind of dissatisfied with that necklace thing because the line earlier this season when Shauna freaks out because she sees that Lottie has given Callie the necklace. And then Lottie's like, it never meant what you thought it meant.
Hmm.
So in the Pit Girl scene, I was waiting for some kind of retcon or some kind of something that would change the meaning of the necklace, but it did not happen.
Well, I'll tell you my best
Let's hear
stab in the
it,
dark as far as that
please.
goes. So, like, what Shauna thought it meant, I feel is relatively clear. We see her put it on Mari here. She put it on Natalie when she was getting chased, but then Javi, when he actually ended up dying, they put it on Coach Ben as well. I feel like it's clear that what Shauna thinks it means is it's the chosen sacrifice, right? That's whoever wears the necklace is just that's why she freaked out. It never meant what you thought it meant. So I feel like my best guess would be that what Lottie is trying to say it means is that she's like, it's chosen one or something, like something
Okay.
along those lines. Like it
Okay.
shouldn't mean sacrifice. It should be the one who holds the power or whatever. I don't know, something like that.
Got it. So yeah, it means yeah, it means the wilderness is chosen one, but in this case not chosen as a sacrifice.
Exactly. Yeah, chosen as a vessel or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel
Mm.
like that's it seems like that's how she's trying to take it. Um
All right. I'll allow that.
okay. So, yeah, I the photo's funny because like Misty's all shocked, but like I'm going like you you did a whole slumber party with Lottie and Callie. Why are you so shocked that there's a photo of Callie clearly in her house? Like it's like that doesn't prove shit. Of course it's true, but I'm just like I don't know. The evidence was weak,
The evidence
honestly.
was weak. Yeah. This and Callie's like, that doesn't prove
Yeah.
anything. Yeah, it doesn't.
It really doesn't. It really doesn't. Like
It's
Lottie could have
true.
taken out at any point that
Uh-huh.
night because Misty's like passed out the whole time,
Yeah.
basically. So it's like there's nothing there. So I'm just like, what the fuck? Anyway, she's right. So I guess that's the thing that matters. We of course get DNA bullshit. So you were right about it. Let just if I haven't said total vindication enough, let me say it again,
Thank
okay? You are
you.
100% right. I just want to say, for my own defense, I did admit that they could bullshit the DNA thing,
Oh
which is
yeah.
absolutely what they did.
Yeah, yeah.
The thing that bothered me about this was Misty saying, at first I thought it was your mother. I'm like, that's not really what happened. What happened was Walter told you it was Shauna's DNA. He literally said that. He said it was Shauna's DNA. That was Walter's thing, not yours. Anyway,
Yeah.
whatever. It's like, it's weird to say at first I thought it was when it's like, you didn't think anything. You were just told that's what it was. That's what the results said. Like, that's it. Like, there's no thinking there. Like she was at the lab going like, ooh, I think this is Shauna's, right? That's how it comes off. It's like that's anyway, whatever. That's something I like to complain about.
Yeah.
Because I'm just like, that's anyway, whatever. Okay. And then let's see. Yeah, so oh yeah. So my contention is that there is no on-screen evidence that Lottie had a clue what was on the tape.
Yeah.
She walked in earlier in the season seeing Callie hiding something. She went in there and grabbed it, thinking it would lure Callie, and I feel like that's actually it. She says
Yeah.
it doesn't matter. Like, I feel like she didn't give a shit about the tape really. It was just a device. Like, so anyway, like that's what I think. I think she never knew there was a tape. Most of them never knew until very recently, even though she could have found out. So anyway, that's a small point, but I think it's true. And then yeah, it's
Yeah,
interesting.
it does seem like she should have had the means to play the tape, but
Yeah,
I agree with you. The fact that she doesn't say anything about what's on it and may not even know that the frog scientist had a tape recorder.
yeah. Yeah. Like before, I'm sure she didn't know basically, but like, yeah, could she like if you want to have headcanon that she did listen to it but didn't think it mattered, that's fine. I'm just saying there's nothing on screen that matters that depends on any her knowing what's in the tape.
Yeah, yeah,
So like I effectively want to believe that it was just a device to bring Callie, but
yeah.
either way, I think it comes to the same thing. Um okay. So yeah. It's funny. Like I was just listening to the season two because I wanted some Yellow Jackets stuff, but I didn't want spoilers. So I thought like old podcast about season two would work well for that. And yeah, I was listening to those weird episodes, the baby shower and like sewing the blanket with the
Yeah,
symbol on
yeah.
it, and then like Shauna bleeds on it and the birds come and and there's that like they do the little meditation circle, like we can't wait to meet him,
Yeah,
all
yeah.
that weird shit, right? Rosemary's Baby-ish stuff. They were trying to,
Yeah.
but then like once the thing's over, right? Like Shauna like beats the shit out of Lottie, and then like that's it. Like they really never talked about it. I mean, like to be fair, I did also remember that they did talk about the baby a bit earlier this season when they did the whole like solstice remembrance thing. They also
That's
talked about
right.
Ben and or not Ben, Javi and Jackie as well. They had the graves there and they do this like ceremony
Yeah, I
to
remember that.
honor them or whatever. And so she did talk about the baby at that point,
Yeah.
but she definitely hasn't been she hasn't been portrayed as like overly harping on what
Yeah,
happened with the
so,
baby.
yeah, so that bothered me coming to this episode to find out how much of her final day was spent um yeah, like focused on Callie. It ends up luring her. I don't know, the whole it made me wish that they'd built up a little bit more about the baby.
Yeah, I agree. If they're gonna lean on it this much,
It
I
almost yeah, it almost felt like they wanted Callie to have been the baby who was born in the
yeah,
wilderness. But they knew that they couldn't really do that. Well, I mean, they patently couldn't do that at this point, but
yeah,
at no
even from the
point
beginning.
could they have made that work, right?
Yeah,
Um, but this is and it's okay to do that. Like I can believe that somebody with the screws loose that Lottie has loose could make that kind of projection, but I just feel like we were missing some kind of thread.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, they definitely could have actually, because Lottie is totally like I don't know, like more or less normal. She's playing like the cool aunt.
Yeah.
Like she's not really doing anything that's like until this scene. Like this is the first scene where she starts acting weird
Yeah.
and doing her Lottie thing. So it's like, yeah, I feel like they definitely could have. Part of it maybe is they just didn't want to give it away or like give too many hints about what's going on. Like they wanted people to forget about the Cali thing. I mean, that
Yeah.
was a big red flag for me that they didn't mention that at all for such a long time.
Yeah.
Like
I
that made it
agree.
seem like, oh yeah, that made me definitely believe that Callie had some involvement there. Um, Yeah, I think that could have been handled better for sure. I think they if they rewrote some of those scenes, I think it would have fit better, even if it made it less of a like shocking reveal or whatever, you know?
Yeah.
Ultimately, I would rather have like compelling drama than like surprising me with something, you know. It wasn't that big of a surprise anyway,
No.
but still like it would have helped like sell it, I guess, if there was like some indication of that. Or even when they investigate the apartment, like they find something that's maybe a hint in that direction. You know,
Yeah,
that would have
yeah.
been nice. There's none of that. So, although I did mean to say last week, you know, we talked about how like nothing really came of that um initially, but we did get the DNA and we got this the cloned phone that had the photo, however much that mattered. I mean,
Yeah.
it is the reason that Misty realized it was Callie. But like, you know, there was also this earlier thing. Like, remember when Misty met with Shauna after that night and she characterized what happened and like it seemed like she had no idea that she was drugged? Like I remember
Yeah.
thinking that was weird, but then the way they play it here, it's like, oh, I think she really didn't know, which is strange. Like she thought she just fucking passed out from like a
Yeah.
few, you know, milk punches or whatever. Like,
Yeah. I also was, yeah. Yeah. I also assumed that she knew that she'd been drugged, but yeah, guess
apparently not.
guess not.
Okay. And then all right, so like why did Shauna come home at 2 a.m. that day? I'll never fucking know, but whatever. Um
Yeah, no answer for that.
There's yeah, and there's really no comment about Ty going to meet Lottie, right?
No,
She
no
said she did it,
satisfaction on that.
but they
Yeah.
didn't put any of it. It makes me wonder if they shot it and cut it, or if they just never had any intention of showing it, and really it was just to throw us off.
Just like a red herring.
Yeah,
Yeah. I feel like it was just a red herring.
yeah,
And I think now that we have the final word on what happened with Callie, we can assume that the apologizing into the mirror thing was a preparation for Lisa's
yeah.
delivery.
Yeah, yeah. Even though she characterized it as just, I'm sorry. That's the only sorry we ever heard about. So I think that's the
Yeah.
logical conclusion to draw. It seemed underwhelming, but hey, it's not the first
Yeah,
that's ever happened in this show.
definitely not.
All right. So that's that. Ready to continue?
Les.
All right, so Jeff sits at home having just heard the story from Callie. Callie wonders if Jeff thinks that Lottie was right about her. Jeff says no. Callie says she is. Jeff says no. He says he's known her her whole life and she's not like Shauna. Callie says she killed someone. Jeff says she was scared. They hug it out. Callie apologizes for not telling him earlier. Jeff says it's okay. It took your mom 25 years to tell 10% of the truth. And Jeff apologizes for not protecting Callie from Shauna. And this is our final Jeff and
Yeah.
Kelly scene of the season here, setting up what they're gonna do, which is to fucking leave. Which you know, I was wondering about in the previous episode. Like, what's the upshot here? Like last time, you just came right back and went to help, and like, you know, I like it makes sense that they wouldn't want to just go back to the same well. They want to take it to a point where okay, it's actually a breaking point now, and you know, it's gonna okay, we need to leave. Like this is, you know, um, I also just feel like I don't know what they're trying to say. Like, are they trying to say, you know, like Nate, like nurture wise, like because she grew up with Shauna? It's just like trauma in the wilderness is not a genetic trait. Like that's not a thing that that's not a thing that you pass down. So,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
it's like the idea that like why would you be like Shauna? You didn't go through anything like what she went through. You know, like even if like okay, you were raised by a mother who maybe's got some deep issues, like who among us has I don't know, you know, like that's not I don't know. That doesn't feel sufficient to me. Of course, maybe the point is she's worried about it, but it's not really true. I don't know what they're trying to say, but it just reminds me of Dexter and like, oh no, it's like, they're gonna have a dark passenger because I do, because like you inherit, like some
Yeah.
kind of shit like that. It's like, I don't really buy all that, but whatever. It's kind of fine. I am glad that they finally pushed to this point because this is a long time coming. And I saw someone on Reddit give a post where they were like, Jeff and Jeff and Simone should have like a spouse support group.
Yeah, totally. Totally.
And I'm like, yeah, like seriously, because it's like, because that's what I was saying earlier. Like Jeff and Kelly gets to be on the show because they've been brought in to the insanity. But it's like if they don't, So anyway, I feel like it's a question about their future on the show now that they leave. Because if they're not in, you know, it's like they don't really have a place anymore. So I feel like they
Yeah.
might be like done. I mean, maybe they'll come up again like Simone and Sammy did very briefly, but
Yeah.
maybe we're kind of done with that stuff. And that was the point of the arc they're doing this season with them.
Yeah. Yeah, we
Just some
get
thoughts.
away from this family dead weight.
Yeah.
Well, and we'll see where they're gonna go with adult Shauna next season, possibly being hunted down by Thaisa and Misty.
Right. Yeah, 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 yeah. Exactly. Yeah, yeah. And Shauna, well, whatever. We'll get to all that. All right, you ready to continue?
I am.
Okay. So we go back to the past. We get a shot of the trees. Van stirs something. I guess it's water. I don't know. Anyway,
They're making some bone soup.
making some bone water. Misty comes out. Robin slash Brit is falling asleep. I don't know which one. That they're the Scott and Steve of the show.
They just introduced these brunettes. Three, we got three new brunettes this season. Just to throw us off the trail of Pit Girl, only for Pit Girl to be confirmed as the person everybody thought it was.
Not even in season 2, I heard us saying, "Oh yeah, it's gonna be Mari." Like we
Yeah.
knew that for a
Yeah.
long time. Actually, the actor claimed that she knew it was gonna be her from season 1. So
Yeah.
anyway, okay. Misty asks about the water. Hey, how about that water? But then more quietly, is there any progress? Van says it's warm ish. And Misty asks what that means.
I love that.
I love it
little
too.
comedy.
It is, yeah.
Not a lot of comedy in this episode.
Van clarifies that it's turning on now, but it just sounds dead. Misty says maybe we can try again together. But at this point, Akila yells, "No!"
Oh God, I hate this.
And they go to her. She's crying. The animals are all dead, just like in her vision. Oh, Akila, you were a prophet after all. Oh well, I'll be eating my words.
SMH.
All right, sorry. Right. Gen and Melissa exchange a knowing glance here. That the reason for that will be revealed later. Ty comforts Aquila. We cut to later, and Aquila is telling the story of her vision, asking Lottie how it could let this happen. And Nat suggests maybe it wants us to leave. How about that?
I like it.
Why isn't it that? Why isn't it that? Give me like how can you prove it's not that?
Yeah, I like it.
I love it. I love it. Someone's finally like, yeah, why can't we just make up any bullshit we want? Because that's all we're doing anyway. All right, sorry. Lottie says they got too arrogant and they have to prove their faith with blood. And Nat says, we've spilled enough blood, mentioning Ben, Edwin, and Cody. Not by name, but she refers to them. Mari says, but they were enemies. Mari. Lottie agrees. We have to offer ourselves. We have to have another hunt. And Shauna agrees. Nat says she's out, but Shauna says, Natalie. And then she nods, and Shauna asks if there are other objections. None? Good. We'll draw in the morning.
Yeah.
Shauna's word powers.
Yeah, we'll try in the morning after there's been a snowfall, so
Yep.
we can so we can track you well and also sync up with
Match the
the
thing.
pilot.
Yeah, yeah, totally. Totally.
I hate it. I hate it. What do I hate most about it? Let's see. I don't like that there are people there are people who want a hunt for different reasons. I don't like that um I don't like that they're so flippant about the possibility or the certainty that if they have a hunt, someone will almost certainly be killed. Um, you know, just to create a diversion. They couldn't come up with a better way to create a diversion. But the thing that I really hate the
Sure.
most is that Aquila
But that
would
wasn't in the pilot. It has to be a thing from the
I
pilot.
know. But what I hate the most is that Aquila would kill all of her animals just for a ruse.
Yeah. Yeah.
It just is, it doesn't fit with Aquila. And also, it is so risky. They need that food to survive.
Yeah. Yeah. It is a huge
It's
risk.
yeah.
Yeah.
And there's no certainty that, you know, she wouldn't be the one who gets killed. Who draws the Queen of Hearts.
Yeah, that's actually a good point, and that gets into the finer points of what the plan was, which is a hard thing to unravel. Well, I'll
Yeah.
do what I can here. We'll see how it goes, but I do agree that like assuming that Ty and Van's plan to rig the cards was not shared by the others, which I see no evidence that it
No,
was.
there's no evidence.
Um, that means that they had to accept that. So, what I think, generally speaking, is that the idea of the plan should have been, okay, we're going to do a draw, right? If if it's one of us, okay, then the others will try to distract the ones who are not in on the plan and let that person get away,
Yeah.
right? And then if it's Shauna or whatever, then we'll just fucking kill Shauna. I assume that's the plan.
Yeah, I just think it's naive to think that they would get away with that.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean, it doesn't come to it because of the pit, which none of them planned
right.
for. Um, but
Yeah, the pit is like a
there's just
coincidence, which is
like
weird.
you still have to go back to that same camp, and what's to prevent Shauna from killing you in your sleep?
Yeah, yeah,
And saying like, well, the wilderness chose, you drew the card, just because you escaped with the help of some friends during a
right.
hunt doesn't mean that I'm going to let you live.
Right, but I guess yeah, that's the thing. Like that's why this doesn't add up. Cause like I can live with some contrivance for a big plan, because that's actually like normal for TV plans. I like that's fine with me. I think the thing that bothers me about it is that it's just overly elaborate. The simple solution seems to be just tie up Shauna and be like, we're gonna fucking get rescued. Bye. Like, like what's she gonna do? Like they could, because I feel at the end when the confrontation happens, they're all looking at her like, what are you gonna do now? We're all against you,
Right.
right? And it's like, but you could have done that before. Why didn't you do it
Right.
earlier?
Right.
So anyway, that's what I'm saying. Like the plan seems to have been, well, if what you're saying would happen, that's when they stand up and go, no,
Yeah, okay.
and stop her. Like that's how they could get out of it. But it doesn't
Mhm.
make the plan make sense. It's
There's just
just
another version of what goes down that doesn't, you know, sync up with the pilot, unfortunately.
yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, they'd have
Where
to pull a whatever rewriting history thing.
yeah, we're like, who is actually on Shauna's side anymore?
Like sort of Lottie
But Lottie is like,
on her own side,
yeah,
really.
she's goop sorceressing
Yeah,
over in the cave. She's not even participating in this.
yeah,
I'm just saying they have enough people that they could overpower the
yeah,
Shauna and
yeah.
whoever is
Maybe
with
Thaisa is with her. I'm That's something I'm not clear on. But even if it's Shauna and Thais and Lottie, even if it's all three of them, they can easily overpower all three of them, which is what I said back when the thing happened. Like, there's no chance that they would be able to stand up to all the rest of them.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, like I just it's yeah, it doesn't really add up, but it's the bullshit that
Yeah.
we just have to deal with. So I like the idea that I guess like Natalie's objection is a scripted objection. Like they knew it wouldn't be accepted, but it like is a thing that she would say.
Yeah.
So it's like it sells the moment. But yeah, I thought it was weird again, Shauna's Natalie. That's all she says.
Yeah.
It's like there's implication there, but
Yeah, well, I mean, I think the implication is that the rule is that you can't refuse, or else you're the one who gets hunted.
that's what I wanted. That's what I wanted because they talked about that
Yeah.
at the end of season 2, right? They talked
Yeah.
about like you know what happens if you refuse to draw, right?
Mhm.
And like oh man, well, we're gonna get into the drama, but like I thought they needed to establish that, and I think they haven't really. So yeah, maybe that is the implication that we're supposed
That
to
they already
know that they
knew.
have
Everybody
agreed that,
knows. Yeah.
and they're just like taking it for granted.
Yeah, they don't have to say it because everybody
Yeah,
knows.
yeah. All right. Ready to continue?
Yeah.
All right.
I stand by my hatred of the Aquila thing, but we'll talk more about that.
Fair enough. We will. All right. So in the next scene, it's later, and Van practices with the cards in her tent with Ty, who says, "We're not leaving it to chance this time." Van says she thought that was the point. The wilderness decides. Ty says, and it will. But our job is still
Ugh,
to keep each other safe. Ha ha ha. Like, okay,
that makes
that's
absolutely no sense,
no, it fucking
Van.
doesn't at all. Van says she can't do that. Ty
Wait,
says,
I meant Ty, but
I
anyway, go ahead.
know.
Sorry.
I think everyone knew.
Everyone knew.
Um, Van says she can't do that. Ty says you did it with Crystal. Van says that was for shit bucket duty. She's asking Van to pick who dies. Van says they are our teammates, and Ty says not all of them. Van verifies that she means Hannah. Ty asks if she trusts her. Van is saying she's the only person who, but Ty interrupts and says, "This is happening. If they die, they won't congratulate themselves for playing fair." And Van agrees.
I really didn't think we were going to get a solution to the mystery of why Crystal always had to dump the shit bucket.
Yeah, that was
We
definitely a
waited
mystery.
patiently and we
And
got
yet,
it.
and yet, we still have no idea who shit in the pee bucket.
Well, this gives me faith that we might still learn. There may yet be an answer.
Crazy they've mentioned the shit bucket multiple times, which I know is not the same as the pee bucket. That's the point. But anyway,
That is the point.
okay, so yeah, this confirms like what we talked about in the previous episode, which was like when there was that allusion to good thing you've been practicing with the cards, that
Uh-huh.
did mean that they were going to cheat,
Yeah.
and just make sure that they don't get chosen, right? So like this is okay.
It still will choose. And by it will choose, I mean it will choose through my choice.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I this
I am its
I
emissary.
don't even know where to begin on like what level to start with about how this bothers me. Like forget about the injustice of it all. Forget about how it's bad to choose who dies. Like never mind that. That's the obvious thing. Here's some other things that bother me about it. So I'm thinking back. So later on, Sean is gonna realize they're doing this clearly. And that, to me that casts the end of season 2 in a different light, right? Because at that point, Shauna knew they were rigging the card draw, right? So I'm just like, what the fuck? Like to me that changes like that changes my perspective on the idea of this, that there was not only rigging going on, but like of the people there, like most of them knew it. you know? So it's just like it's just I don't know, like that's weird to me. And then the
Yeah, that's a good point. I hadn't thought about that.
like to me that just changes the whole, and like would Lottie just be like, oh
And Van
whatever.
was the one who did it. So then like Van yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't think they knew that back then. So the other thing that I was thinking about is like, well, there's a way where this makes sense. Like one way you can go is like, well, someone got lucky, and the ones who got lucky are the characters we've been following because we know they survived, so they must have like not
Right.
been hunted and killed, right? So like you could go that way, but like I think it seems like they decided they wanted to make it more like, no, like they rigged it so they would survive,
Yeah.
um and like so it was a choice. They didn't just get lucky.
Yeah.
Which definitely changes the game. I mean, there's definitely a open question about how many more draws they're going to have before they get rescued, because I mean rescue is in sight by the end of this episode. So
Yeah. I wonder how long it's gonna take them. Are we gonna get one more season? Do we know?
we don't know. I mean, a long time ago they said they had a 5 season plan,
So
but
that would be two more
which would be
seasons.
2 more. But like the way they ended things here, it does feel like if they wanted to, it depends on what they want to do with that intermediate period, whether they want to spend time on that or if they want to really have the show end with the rescue. If they want to have the show end with the rescue, then next season would make sense. I think like maybe they decided they could just do it in 4, like they don't have enough for 5, or they want to do,
Oh
they want to
man,
go do a Star Wars project or whatever.
what?
Sorry, it's just a Game of Thrones thing.
Oh, okay. What what if what if next season we just see the sort of present day and then flashing back to the period after their rescue as they're readjusting.
Yeah.
And then in the last season, we go back and see how the lead up to the rescue
Oh,
actually
they flip
happens.
it.
Yeah.
They could do that, I guess. Yeah, they could do that. That makes sense
I
in
don't
a
know why
way
they would, but I just thought it might be a
to throw
way
us
to
off.
because it seems kind of anticlimactic unless they've got something big planned for the present day timeline.
Yeah.
Um it just seems like in the present day timeline everybody has to end up dead.
Yeah.
Um, because I don't know who would be the survivor. They had that, yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
okay. Back to what we're actually watching, not what might happen down the road. Um, yeah. So have you mentioned everything that you hate about
No, there's
this?
one more thing
Yeah.
I want to
Let's
talk
hear it.
about.
Yeah, I had a feeling.
So the other aspect of this that's like bugging me and whatever. Okay, let me just say it. So I know you remember right in that initial period um when Van wants to leave but Ty doesn't, right? They have that scene where they show it was a little before that technically, but they have that scene that was like setting up, I think, the idea of what was happening, where they showed Thaisa with the eyeless guy
Yeah.
behind her just for the audience,
Yeah.
seemingly to communicate it's the bad one in control here, deciding to stay, right? And
Yeah.
we got the bad one was quote unquote being led to the symbol trees by the eyeless guy, right? That was a thing from season 2.
Yeah.
We had the bad one putting the symbol on Simone in the hospital, also in season 2. We had the bad one putting the symbol on the altar with with Biscuit in season at the end of season one. And the thing that all of that feels like it's adding up to me is that the bad one is, closer to like being aligned with Lottie, like believing in this wilderness mysticism, like accepting the power of these symbols and whatever,
Yeah.
right? So the thing that's bothering me about this is that there's both an indication that the bad one's in control, but also the bad one doesn't give a shit. The bad one's like bullshitting. The bad one's going like, eh, it chooses like what we choose is what it chooses. It's just a coincidence. So what can I say? You had a bad fall, huh? Like,
Do you want to do the rest of the podcast in that episode?
hey,
Yeah.
sometimes breaks fail, huh?
Is there a difference?
Is there a difference? Yeah, it's like that's the other thing that bothers me about it. Like, because like regular Thaisa, I could see sort of feeling this way, but it seemed like they were indicating it wasn't her, especially with that smirking scene, it was like, good thing you're practicing with the cards. Like
Yeah.
it's like that doesn't seem like Thaisa to me.
If you let go of the idea that there is if you embrace the Taisa bad one spectrum instead of binary, then you know maybe this is just ordinary Taisa being acting out of self-preservation, not the bad guy, not the bad one. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah. I mean, like ultimately I agree. I just think that from the way they portrayed things, and we had our reintegration scene earlier. It seems like it's implied that they were separate at this time, that it's only way later.
But but no. No. I didn't read it that way. That like that the bad one was like in charge the whole time.
Oh, no, 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 not in charge the whole time. I just mean separate.
Yeah, I just don't understand. I think I don't understand your
Okay.
problem with that.
so
So like
so
I know in the last episode she smirks and that makes her seem evil, but this is like the next day.
yeah. Okay, if it's not the bad one, forget about it. I'm just saying from the lead up, it seemed like there's a decent chance that that's what we're supposed to think is the one who's like, no, let's stay, you know, blah,
Yeah,
blah, blah.
yeah. I mean, I think I think the bad one. Yes, I think the eyeless guy shown behind her is telling us that the bad one wants to stay in the wilderness, stay connected to whatever it is. Um, but in this episode, I didn't get any indication that there's any bad one in any of these scenes.
I
This seems like all Thaisa to me.
I don't I there's one scene where like maybe, but I generally agree. Like I'm
Mhm.
just saying it's the background of like what led up to this.
Yeah, well, for sure. But now she's so is this playing into your question of whether Thaisa currently is on Shauna's team or not?
Yeah, partially. It partially is, but it's also just a question about where she's coming from with this. Let's rig it, but also the wilderness decides, you know.
Yeah, I think she is just acting out of self-preservation and is just sort of, like regular Ty never really bought into it.
Definitely not.
But, she had to concede at a certain point in an earlier season that there's something going on because the bad one like knew these things, like brought Van to the trees with the symbols and possibly knew. I think it's like
Yeah.
it's that do I believe, do I not believe thing that a lot of the characters seem to have. And, Aquila has a little bit of that in this episode in a way that I think is more potent and head shaking than anything we see from Thaisa.
Sure, sure, sure. I'll
Um,
buy that.
anyway.
One more thing I want to say about Van here is that um, Van is, I think, um, canonically on team leave. And so like I
Yeah.
don't really have a question about Van. It's Thaisa's the one I'm unsure about. But Van knows they're rigging the cards. So I guess I guess my point then would be like did she actually tell the others that they were gonna rig the cards and it was gonna be Hannah? you know and they were like, okay, she's not one of us, like, oh well, that's fine, like maybe, I don't know. Anyway, there's no indication that that happened, so that's just headcanon. It's just like, because she has this divided loyalty, it's not really clear, like how much of this broke through.
Yeah.
And I mean, based on the episode, I'm gonna say the others didn't know because they're not told on
Yeah,
screen.
yeah.
Shauna seems to have figured it out, but other than that, it seems like only the three of them knew about it. But I do wonder how many others might find out before the
Hmm.
wilderness is over, because I just feel like that's got to be, again. I can see Lottie giving some bullshit rationale for why it's fine still, but like,
Yeah.
but like, I feel like most of them would be like, "Fuck that!" Like, what? We're come on.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, like, just the idea of this makes me angry. But from a preservation point of view, like self-preservation, I get it. Like, we're all a little selfish, right? It's fine. Okay. You ready to continue?
Let's do it.
All right, so we go back to the present. Shauna arrives back at home. Jeff and Callie are gone. The closets are cleaned out. And Shauna calls the disconnected number that we learned later was Callie's. So we'll come back to that. Back in the past, Lottie wakes up Shauna, or it's just a dream slash hallucination. It's a weird moment. It's clearly
Yeah.
Lottie's voice. They even say it in the subtitles, but like, I don't think she's really there. So I don't know why Shauna's imagining Lottie waking her up. That makes no sense to me. But anyway, Shauna goes outside. There's lots of snow. Um, Van shuffles the cards. Shauna notices Van doing something fishy with the cards and glances at Ty as well, clearly guessing that
Yeah.
they got some shit going on here.
Yeah.
Because say what you will about Shauna, she's not stupid.
No.
You gotta watch out. She'll catch you. So they draw. At this point, if you're paying attention and you realize from the previous scene that Hannah's chosen sacrifice, you will notice that Mari is right for Hannah. So Shauna switches places before Mari, I think at random. I don't think she actually knew who it was supposed to be. Um,
Yeah, though she does really hate Mari
True.
and is such a shithead to her. So
Well, yeah. So okay. I'll
yeah.
finish it and then we can talk through a few things. Ty tells her to go back to her spot. Don't take extra risks. But Shauna says the odds are the same. What's up with your AP stats? Come on, Ty. Like, anyway, I do feel like she would know that. And she trusts what it wills, like we all do, right? Shauna draws, and then it's Mari who gets the queen. Van reacts. Shauna sarcastically says, "Tough break, Mar." I'm just like, I'm like, okay, I'll come back to it. Tells her to take off her cape, puts the heart necklace on her, and starts counting. Mari tries to grab the knife from her, but is pushed away. Lottie continues the count. Mari says, "You deserve everything that's coming to you," to Shauna, and runs. Travis drinks some tea. This is where I noticed that finally.
Uh-huh.
Um, they grab, because he's just like hanging out. He's not even, anyway. They grab weapons and they mask up. Travis grabs Shauna. She tells him to back off. Travis says, "None of this is real. Don't you wonder whose reality we're in? Shauna threatens him with a knife. Travis thinks that some of his thoughts are Javi's thoughts. And then he says his favorite thoughts are Jackie's. The slumber party makeouts, the jealousy, the betrayal. I think Ty tells him to back up. I think this is Thaisa. With the mouse, sometimes I'm not 100% sure who I'm looking at, but I'm 90% sure this is Thaisa that tells him to back up. Uh, and then Lottie says it's not him, telling them to hunt. Thanks, Lottie. And we also get a shot of Mari running and they pursue after this. It's so short. I don't feel the need to make that a separate scene. Okay. So what do I want to say here? So I was getting a whiplash here because I'm so annoyed with the rigging the card plan that I was cheering on when Shauna fucked it up. I'm like, that's great. You just made it random again. That actually works. Like, if you want to break the plan, do that. Because if they chose someone, now it's whoever's next to them, that's arbitrary. Like, that's the point. You and like, yeah, I'm totally on board for that. But then, like, when it's Mari, she's a total asshole about it.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh God, it's like
Yeah.
I get a little shot of that I like, and then it's like, nah, she's still fucking awful for no
Yeah.
reason.
Yeah. And it's
Oh,
also just really disrespectful. I mean, the whole if you think back to the hunt that ended with Javi falling in the water and being eaten, it's like reverential. This idea that, we do this for this, higher reason. We honor our dead.
yeah,
y- You know, it's ritual, but she's like tough break,
yeah.
like, oh, you're so it's tacky.
It's super tacky. Yeah. Yeah. No, I it was like I just instantly went back to like, oh God,
Yeah,
I hate you again.
yeah,
Because like for a moment it was nice to be like, God, I'm glad someone realized this is happening and like ruined their plan because
yeah,
I hated that idea so much. But
yeah.
it's like, you know who I also hate?
Mhm.
Anyway, all right. So, what else did I want to say? Yeah, so Mari's line here, you deserve everything that's coming to you. I think clearly suggests that Mari's in on the plan and like that's basically foreshadowing like what is gonna happen later. Like we
Yeah,
don't really realize that at the time.
yeah,
I also like the small thing that like she tries to grab Shana's knife and like kill her right there.
yeah,
Like that's interesting. Another thing that's like kind of interesting but seemingly coincidental is that in the first episode of this season when they're playing the, like capture the bone or whatever,
uh-huh.
Mari is used as a decoy and Shauna goes after her while the her team like gets to the place and time or whatever,
Yeah,
and
that's a big catalyst in their feud.
yeah, exactly. So it's like there was some, yeah, anyway, they clearly knew they were going here at
Yeah,
that point. Like that's all pretty believable. Um and then yeah, then we have this weird ass Travis stuff. I like Travis is another like big ass question mark to me. I don't know how in on any of this he is.
he's
Like
on his own plane of
like
reality.
like yeah, he's drinking tea and I feel like what they're trying to do in a small way because they don't have a lot of time for Travis is try to set up like the place that he ends up getting to
Yeah,
after he comes back. They're
yeah,
trying to show like this is how he ends up coping with this stuff is like using this drug and like going into this weird space, like it's his way of like escaping or something.
yeah.
um but the stuff he says about Jackie is weird. I'm like, what are you talking about? Who told you that? Like, you don't know shit about them. Like, seriously, he barely knew them before they crashed. So I'm like, how? I don't know. And I know he interacted with Jackie some, but there was nothing on screen to indicate that they ever talked about any of this stuff, you know?
Yeah,
So,
I mean it's pretty general, but I agree. It's kind of eyebrow raising. Like what what is going on.
Yeah, is he just
Is it that
assuming?
he's yeah, like he maybe thinks that what he's saying if he's if he's dwelling on Javi's death, on Jackie's death, then he could kind of insert into that some general, you know, hunches about what high school might have been
Hmm.
like for them.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
He could imagine things that they might have remembered, that might have been memories.
yeah, 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 yeah. Um, yeah, it is generic. That's true. It's I guess it's slumber party makeouts. That's like the most specific thing that he says, and she could be
Yeah.
like, "No, you're wrong. We never had a slumber party, and there were no makeouts. Incorrect, Travis." But yeah, the
Yeah.
jealousy, the betrayal is like it's safe to say that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we know about the jealousy and betrayal
Exactly.
from on, in the wilderness.
He knows about that. He saw the big fight they had.
Right.
Right. But they
That's
weren't
yeah.
like, remember those slumber party makeouts?
Yeah.
You know? Like that's sort of like
Yeah, but that is the kind of thing that could have made it through the grapevine.
sure, sure. It's not impossible. Um, but yeah, it's interesting that Travis made the pit, tried to kill Lottie, and then he just like trips out and doesn't really do anything else except this weird thing. Which like, yeah, it's there's no indication that he's in on the plan, but there's also no indication that he wants to stay.
And we don't get any indication that he like we don't get his reaction to the fact that Mari died in the pit.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's true. I mean, there's really almost nothing with Travis after this. So
Yeah.
yeah, there's no reactions to anything that happened. The big conspiracy against Shauna, right? They don't
Yeah.
really focus on like how he's processing that. So yeah, I don't know. It's just interesting to me because like he's like floating in the background here and I don't know what he's doing. It's weird. Okay. Uh, uh, ready to continue?
Let's do
All
it.
right, so we go back to the present. Misty takes the Caligula placard. What do you call that? I was trying to come.
Sure,
Is
placard.
that a
Yeah.
good enough word?
Yeah.
I thought there was a better word, but I couldn't come up with it. And you know, listeners, you all know that I have a lot of trouble coming up with words for things. Makeup box. Like I don't know what anything's called.
Yeah. I
Anyway,
think placard's a good word for that.
knife holder. Like I really don't
A
know.
sheath or a scabbard?
Sheath or scabbard. That's why I had to look it up. Anyway, okay, placard off the cage. That's what Walter put on there, throwing it
Hmm.
away, right? Fuck Walter. She's like so done with Walter. Like it's so
It's
unambiguous at
pretty
this point.
overboard how anti-Walter she is.
I know, and like I don't even know why. Like it seemed like it's like you don't have to be with him, but I don't understand why she's so like hostile
Yeah, don't
towards
take it
him.
out on Caligula.
Like it doesn't seem. I don't know. It's like you could be like Walter, you were too pushy and like whatever. Like I don't want to be with you. Like you don't have to like take this weird posture of like fuck you and everything you stand for. I don't know. It's just weird to me. Whatever. Okay. Shauna knocks and comes in. Misty says the house is monitored. Shauna says, "What did you do to my family?" Because yeah, it's it's
Yeah, it
always
must be
Misty.
Misty's fault.
Misty. We're back to that.
Misty Quigley.
Let's just blame Misty for this. They're gone. It is oh my God, Shauna. Jesus Christ. Okay.
Shauna, I never take personal responsibility, Shipman.
So true. Shauna shipping my responsibility to Miss Teeman. Anyway,
Hmm.
um, they're gone. Callie's phone is disconnected. Misty is surprised Jeff had it in him, but is sure that Shauna won't take any responsibility. Shauna says, "What are you talking about?" Misty says that Shauna, had the info that could have solved Lottie's murder from the get go. Love that she used the phrase from the get go. You don't hear get go that often.
but you should
Get go.
in that accent.
Yeah, she said it just like that. It was weird because she doesn't usually sound country, but anyway. Okay, go on, get it. All right. Um, okay.
Oh boy.
All right. Misty points out that Shauna knew that Lottie gave Callie the necklace. Shauna says, and Shauna says, what are you saying? Misty says that Callie killed Lottie and confessed. Shauna wonders if she's in jail, and Misty says no. She advised Callie to talk to Jeff and guesses that she did. Shauna says this is none of your business. Misty says she needed someone to talk to and, quote, you were busy eating your ex girlfriend's arm.
Yeah.
Shauna wonders why she would do it. She wanted to be Lottie's friend. Callie wanted to be Lottie's friend. Misty says she's been lacking strong friendship examples. Shauna tells Misty that she's just as fucked up, and Misty says, maybe you're right. Maybe that's why I didn't believe Walter when, but she doesn't complete her thought. Shauna says Walter knows, but Misty says no. I figured this out on my own, and you should be glad I did. And then Misty advises Shauna to leave before she gets a restraining order. And that's where we leave things.
Misty is finally sticking up for herself. I dig that. Good for you, Misty. Yeah.
Couldn't agree more. You love to see it.
Hmm.
But another thing here, so I remember when I typed this thinking I have no idea what she's talking about, but now as I sit here, I feel like what she's saying is like Walter was right about you.
Yeah.
Like
Walter was right
Walter
about you.
was
You're a
right that you're
terrible
not a
friend.
real friend.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that's what she's saying. And it's weird that she's pairing that with like fuck Walter. You
Yeah.
know, like it's like can you
Yeah, I mean, there is that psychological phenomenon of like rejecting people who tell you truths you don't
the bouc
believe.
émissaire.
Yeah, yeah. The shoot the messenger thing.
Shoot the messenger.
I
There
think
you go.
is I
Sorry,
think
I
what
forgot how we say it in Anglais.
yeah, scapegoat is not really the same thing as the
No,
messenger.
fair enough. Fair
But
enough.
yeah.
But yeah, just to say taking it out on the messenger. But it's like it feels like she's giving him credit, and but anyway, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just a weird moment for me. And then the other thing I was gonna say is like this is not elaborated, but she says Shauna knew that Lottie gave Callie the necklace, right? But
Yeah.
she doesn't really explain that
What is the, like it's not really about the
like
necklace.
because Shauna knew that she should have known that Callie killed Lottie. Like I
Yeah,
like
I know. I agree. It's and that's why I that was another reason why I was waiting for something more about the necklace because there was the previous line of you it never meant what you thought and
right.
then this line.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
no, I mean I think that the necklace, I guess uh yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it's like I just don't even know what she's
It's like 'cause
getting
she
at.
didn't go over there because of the necklace.
Yeah, totally. Totally. Yeah, I didn't even talk about the
Yeah.
necklace.
I mean, then her giving her the necklace does point to some extra level of like super inappropriate engagement. Maybe it's that it says something about how Lottie thought about Callie that I don't know. The fact that she would give her that necklace like implies this whole other
Mhm.
aspect, this whole other dimension of what they knew about each other, which suggests a possibility for motive.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so maybe it's just awkward to summarize that in a pithy way, and so they just decided to like not say it and then just have her point out the necklace and be like,
Yeah.
there's something there, right? Like, isn't that enough? I don't know. Yeah, maybe that's the point. It's not a thing that you can just easily like explain why
Yeah.
that means that Callie was a good suspect.
Yeah. Exactly.
Anyway, but it was a little weird to me. Um but yeah, I it's very satisfying to have this happen. Like the of course Misty like played a small role in what happened, but it's like, you know, Misty didn't make Callie kill Lottie. Misty didn't like force Callie to go tell Jeff. Misty didn't tell them that they should get out of the house and get away from Shauna, right? Like she just passed, like she just gave like Callie the chance to confess, and she advised her to tell Jeff, and that's it. Like I don't, blaming Misty for what happened is just ridiculous. And like Shauna even know that at that point. So it's just like,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just like super annoying that she gets to that point. Now, I've got a counterpoint on blaming people for things that don't belong there later, but it's just it fits with the season, but it's just frustrating to watch her like just go back to that after being proven like horribly wrong about
Yeah, she was
everything
wrong about it.
except the freezer technically.
Sort of, not really.
You know,
I stand by not really.
yeah, yeah.
I'm not gonna relitigate that.
That's why I say technically. Like you could argue there was something there, but like, yeah, it's still not much if it's anything at all. So anyway, all right, ready to continue? All right, so we go back to the past. Mari runs. They pursue. Mari has some kind of plan involving her outerwear. I'll talk about that later. Shauna and Ty see two sets of tracks, and Ty suggests that they split up. But Shauna says no, something's weird. Shauna picks a way to go. Ty follows. Mari takes off her outerwear and puts it on a branch, so she can match the pit girl scene. Of course, that's at least one reason why.
Yeah.
Because we remember what she looked like, and she wasn't wearing the stuff that Mari's wearing. So if they want to do pit girls, she's got to take that off. And she's also barefoot, like she's trying to take her, and her shoes get caught like on her pants, and so like that's why she's not wearing shoes. Because it is weird not to wear shoes in the cold like that.
Yeah.
It definitely gave a different impression when we saw it originally.
Yes.
Ty says these might not even be her tracks to Shauna, who asks why she would say that, getting suspicious. Ty asks what her problem is. Ty thinks that she's trying to let Mari get away, saying who was supposed to be the queen. She knows they fucked with the drama, saying, don't lie to me. Ty gets serious and says, if you know what's good for you, you'll back up. And Shauna says, backing down, we're losing time. Let's get going. And they go. This is a moment where I feel like it could be the bad one, although I agree that like it's not definitive that it has to be.
Yeah, I mean, I think Thais is a badass no matter what.
I agree 100%. So that's why I'm saying it doesn't have to be. But it's like if you wanted to, you could read it that way.
Mhm.
It's there. So yeah, this is where I start to get confused about Thaisa's level of knowledge. It's like Shauna's suspicious, but then it's like, oh, is she just suspicious about the card thing? And like that's really where this is coming from. But she does say that she thinks she's trying to let Mara get away, which I do think was the plan of some of them,
Mhm.
right? Like Gen is open about that.
Yeah.
That was the plan. But like the way they play it, I'm not sure if Thais is in on that plan or not, or if she's actually just on the level, except for the card thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's a weird thing. But it is nice to see, even though it's someone who wanted to stay, unfortunately, it's nice to see someone standing up to Shauna and being like, what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
Come on, like, you know.
Yeah, I mean, Thaisa's really the only one who by herself could realistically stand up to Shauna.
Yeah, yeah. And it's just, yeah, like I've been waiting all season for someone to do that. And so it's just, yeah, it's nice. Even someone from within her own circle,
Yeah.
seemingly, right? Someone who was going along with her shit. You know, it's just like, like what do you, like, fuck off. Like,
Yeah.
what am I supposed to, like,
Yeah,
oh,
you may be able to bully these other
yeah,
people just with a single word, but not me.
I'm not gonna cower before you or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, I stayed because I wanted to, not because like you
Yeah.
yelled at me to,
Yeah.
you know? Okay. Oh yeah, the other thing I was gonna say is I feel like because we have a close switcheroo later with
Yeah, I think that's what is happening here.
yeah,
Initially thought she was just trying to throw them off, even for a moment. If they see those bright colors from a distance, that could buy her a little bit of time,
yeah,
or at the very least, she doesn't stand out as much if she's
right.
not wearing the bright
Yeah,
clothes.
yeah, 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 yeah.
But then when you find out where it's going, it's like, okay.
Yeah,
So there's a clothing switcheroo planned so that Natalie can get away in
yeah.
this melee.
Yeah, go to high ground, use the radio, and distract Shauna, thinking Natalie's still there because someone will look like her with the mask and stuff.
Yeah.
So, like, there's two ways I'm inclined to go with this. Number one, it was always planned to be
We're
Mari.
just laughing because I'm like, it's like the Home Alone thing. There's a big enough crowd that you are just so sure that you saw the person. In Home Alone, when they're like getting ready to go to the airport.
Oh, yes, yes, yes. Right, right, right. Yeah, they don't do a head count.
No.
And they don't have that neighbor to like step in
Yeah.
to like cause the count to get fucked up. Anyway, if they did a count, it would have worked. Anyway, obviously Shauna didn't really suspect exactly what's going on here. Um, which does make me think she doesn't know about the radio. Because I think if she knew about it, she'd be a lot more suspicious about that. And she
Yeah.
doesn't really express suspicion about that. So anyway, um yeah, so what I was gonna say is like number one, it was always Mari. Mari was going to be the Natalie decoy. That was the plan. And when she got chosen, she's like trying to under duress, like, okay, well, let's leave my clothes here and like hopefully, like something like that. Um or the plan was whoever it is, right? If they didn't know about the card rigging and all that, like the plan is like whoever it is will do the switch. Or the plan was anyway, so
Yeah.
it's something like that. I don't know that it really matters, but I enjoy trying to reconstruct plans that go wrong. So that's something I'm trying to do here. Um, uh, and yeah, I think that's all I got. So you ready to continue?
Let's do
All
it.
right. So then Natalie goes to get the sat phone. We hear some branches rustling. Nat runs with it. And then Hannah sees and follows. Then we go back to Shauna and Ty. They hear Gen calling. She tells Ty to come quick. Van is hurt. Ty says she'll go, but Shauna thinks she's lying. It's a trick. She wants to separate them. Ty thinks she's being paranoid, finally saying, come with us then. Shauna finally gives in, telling them to go, and they all leave. Shauna howls. Um, Nat catches Hannah following her. Hannah says that I'm sorry, Shauna tells the rest of them to go. Shauna doesn't go with them. Let me
Yeah.
just clarify that point. Sorry.
Yeah, I didn't think it went that
The
way.
way I said it was confusing. That's not what happened. Shauna's by herself when she howls. Okay. Nat catches Hannah following her. Hannah says she's on Nat's side, but Nat doesn't believe it. Hannah says if she didn't kill Cody, Shauna would have killed them both. And she's just been doing things to survive like Nat, and she just wants to get out of there. And that's where we leave things for now. Obviously, we know what happens later. So, anyway, um, so if it always was Mari, it would make sense that it's like, oh, perfect, like now I can do the switcheroo here if you're actually offering to help, um but yeah, because she clearly sees her take the phone, so she knows, I think intuits that there's a plan here that
Yeah.
to use the phone.
Yeah.
um uh so yeah, then this thing with again like is also confusing. It's like is she doing what Shauna says and like trying to separate them? I mean, she admits later that she's trying to like help Mari, which
Yeah.
like is fine. But is there another layer to what's happening here? I'm not clear on that. Like, I guess my real question is, does Thaisa understand that that's what's happening here or not? I
Yeah,
feel like
I
no,
don't.
but I'm actually not sure, and I'm confused about how not sure I am.
I
Um,
mean, I think Thaisa really shouldn't believe it because she's a terrible liar.
yeah,
Kim's a terrible liar, and it's just so implausible.
yeah, and the way she
Um,
goes along with it so readily, it
yeah, but I think I think what happens later when she's like, the ravine is that way,
yeah,
um, reveals that she actually didn't like, even if it's unrealistic that she would think that she did think it, like, out of a fear that it could be
she
true.
just thought Van might be hurt, and she was gonna go
Yeah, that,
against
like,
it.
fear overrides people's sense of logic
Okay.
sometimes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. All right. I'll buy that. I'll buy that. Obviously Shauna's not totally paranoid. There is a plan here.
Yeah.
Um okay. Next scene. All right. So Akila arrives at the cave and goes in. Shauna on the hunt finds Mari's outerwear.
I'm so glad that the two architects of the hunt are not participating.
Akila goes in the cave and hears Lottie talking to it. Lottie says she knows that it hurt to do what Akila did. And then at this point, we cut to with a VHS effect for the record, because it just doesn't mean what it used to mean.
Yeah, clearly not.
Akila saying, if we want to hunt, she has an idea. And we cut to her making some tea, I guess. And then finding the animals. I'm not really sure what they were implying with this. Like, she was like pretending to be high, or she really was high, or I don't know what the implication was. But they clearly cut to like making tea in the middle of this. So, whatever.
I
Okay.
thought that she was making something that she poisoned the
Oh, she poisoned the
animals with.
animals. That's what happened. Oh, God damn it. You're right. Thank you. Thank you for giving me the obvious. I think they were all like stabbed or
I'm
something.
here for the obvious.
But it's like if they were all stabbed, it would have been more obvious that someone did it. So like they wouldn't be just they'd be like,
Yeah.
who did this? Instead of the point is she just gave them that it was poison. Okay, got it. Then finding the animals, she tells Lottie, "You made me believe that I could see things, but Travis told me the truth." Lottie says, "You did see things. Her visions came true." Oh, and I smack my forehead as hard as I possibly can.
Don't knock yourself out.
Is there a difference?
Mm.
Oh boy. Her visions came true just like hers and Travis's. And they're all connected to it. Akila says she doesn't believe that and grabs a rock, saying it's all Lottie's fault. But Lottie says, even if we go home, it will come with us and turns around. And that's where we leave things for now. I would say we come back to that, but we don't.
We don't.
That we leave things here, and I guess Lottie leaves the cave because we see her later elsewhere out in the woods.
Yeah, we're gonna see her pretty soon. And the woods, like all television shows, it takes as long to get from point A to
Yeah,
point B as it needs to.
as the cuts require. Yeah, totally. Okay. So yeah, I mean, this is a reveal about what happened. You know that like poisoning the animals was part of the plan. Which I agree is like it sucks. It sucks to have to do that. You know, it's like what they could have done is have another character have that idea. And then, and then but
Yeah.
Akila is on team leave. So she would find out about it at some point. So I guess they felt like the only way we can do this without making it about how Akila's like, no, we're not fucking doing that, is to have
It's
Akila agree to do it herself. That's my
yeah,
guess on why they wrote it like this.
I just don't buy it. I mean, she's been snuggling rabbits the whole season. She spent a whole season cradling a mouse corpse. Like it's and and she's already like in this scene, she says, you know, Travis told me the truth, and she's holding a rock like she's about to bash
Yeah,
Lottie's skull in with it.
yeah.
And you know, I just don't. I know she's desperate to leave, but I just don't think that this is the most. I don't think that Aquila would come up with this idea for how to create the necessary diversion, even if they thought that a hunt was the only way to do it, which is such an extreme
That's already
thing.
a leap.
There,
Yeah.
yeah, there are already so many other ways to create diversions. I just don't think that she would. I don't think she would.
So I think the other thing I'll say, like in defense of Aquila, is especially now that you've helped me understand what happened, I do feel like that probably means it was a painless death. So like at
Yeah,
least she's trying to do it, in a gentle way. And they're like quasi domesticated, so like if they're getting rescued, like there's a real question about those animals' fitness for survival. I don't know. That's my best attempt to defend Aquila's decision to do
I
this.
mean, they're being raised for food. I understand that, but it's different to just kill them to support a ruse
Yeah.
versus killing them to eat them. And I would also argue that it's really reckless. I mean, I already said this earlier, but you need to eat them. It's reckless to
Yeah.
poison meat you're going to eat.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, it's putting all your eggs in the basket of something that isn't even guaranteed to work.
Yeah, and they
So,
may eat those animals anyway. Like it may be that, you know, it's not
mhm.
arsenic or whatever,
Right,
but
right.
I just, yeah, whatever.
So I mean I basically agree with you. That's just my best attempt to defend it.
Yeah.
Um, Lottie, full of shit to the end here. And I say to the end, she ain't dying here. Obviously, we know how she died. It was a lot
Yeah.
later. But like, Lottie is so hypocritical. It's like, it drives me crazy. Like, yeah, your visions came true. Uh-huh. Is that what that means? If I go like, oh man, um,
Yeah, Coach Ben was a bridge because strangers showed up when we were cooking him.
yeah, like no one has said that, which I think is weird. But anyway, it's like, yeah, whatever. Like if I have a dream about like going to eat at McDonald's, right? And then
Mhm.
I go eat at McDonald's. Does that mean that my vision came true? Like that's stupid, Lottie. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
That makes no sense. Like
I know.
she just did a thing that was, I think for her more of a nightmare than anything.
Yeah.
It probably did give her the idea,
Yeah, certainly.
but like just enacting something that you imagined
Yeah.
is not a vision coming true. That
Yeah.
those are not the same thing. And I maybe you think there's no difference, but like I think there's actually a huge fucking difference. So anyway, Lottie, Lottie. I a lot of people didn't like it, and I understand. It was frustrating in various ways, and I'm still stuck on is there a difference from the end of season two? But like I basically liked the season two version of Lottie. I felt like that was an interesting way to like pivot the character in a different direction that felt plausible to me. The place where she ended up sort of made sense. Like I was okay with that, but it really feels like this season they've like taken a screaming U-turn from that. And they've gone back to like something more like what I thought that um we were gonna get at the end of season one. It's like they were like, oh man, we fucked up that Lottie. We need to like get her back to like the stuff that it seemed like we were setting up at the end of season one. Cause it's like she's all in on this like wild Cali stuff. And like you're the child of the id and
Yeah,
whatever,
yeah.
and Teen Lottie is worse this season too. The there was like a brief moment of self-doubt, but nothing like what we had in season two, where like
Hmm.
I was so much more sympathetic with her back then. But like now it's like not only is she like full of her own bullshit of like just like saying stuff, and it's clearly just stuff she's making up,
Yep.
but she's openly hypocritical. Like yeah, it's what it wants. If like you see a thing and then you just do that thing, it's like why? Like
Yep.
why is what if it was trying to warn you not to do that? Like how do you know that's not true, Lottie?
Yeah.
Like I just can't even. And so it's like in a way I want Aquila to use the rock, even though I know it's not gonna happen because it can't. She's got like the best kind of plot armor.
Yep. It's
She will be there till the end of the teen timeline. So
she will.
we just have to deal with it. But yeah, I miss doubtful Lottie. I miss even the occasional flash of normal Lottie, which we got a little earlier in the season when she was hanging out with Travis. Like, dude, you're so high.
Yeah.
I miss all that. Like, it's just she's descended into this like weird place that I don't know. Like, there's just nothing there that I can like.
Wow.
you know, like it's just all annoying and frustrating to me.
Yeah,
Um.
it is.
Okay. So. Uh. Sorry. That's the other thing I wanted to mention about this that I think is interesting and odd. It's clear here that Lottie knows that Aquila did that, right? As a ruse, right? Or Lottie knows that Aquila did that at the very least to motivate a hunt,
Yes.
right? But she doesn't, I think she doesn't know about the larger plan, which is to say with
This
the
is what I
radio.
was trying to get at way in the beginning of like not everybody who knows about the ruse knows about the
Yeah.
radio, and there's like different layers of knowledge and deceit going on
Yeah.
here.
So like Lottie's on board with the hunt, but I don't think she'd be on board with doing the radio and getting, I mean, she very explicitly did not want to do that. So
Yeah, though she also didn't try to stop them. She was just
that's true.
she just
That's true. And she deserves credit for that. She wasn't the one
um
going, no, you won't leave. But she didn't want to leave. So I'm just saying,
but I don't think she knows about the radio. I think it's a
yeah,
liability. You
I
cannot
agree.
let very many people know about
Yeah.
this.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. Um, okay. Ready to continue? All right, so Mari runs and trips, cutting her foot. We recreate the scene from the pilot. They showed this exact thing happen in the pilot. I watched it again. Shauna pursues, finding the bloody tracks from the bleeding foot. Okay, just transition there. Ty tells Gen that the ravine is that way. Gen pretends to be confused, and then Van shows up coincidentally. Like, I don't know. I was confused about this too, and asks what's going on. And then Ty does as well. Gen says nothing. Van says, "What did I miss?" Gen says, "Mari's my friend. I'm just trying to give her a fighting chance." Van says she might get away, and then we hear some howling in the distance, and Van and Ty leave. So yeah, this is like another scene where I'm not really clear on like Van just showed up there by happenstance. Like that's what it looks like.
Yeah.
And it also seems like she's not in on this thing that Gen's doing. And yet the thing so is the idea like,
But if Van and yeah.
okay, so oh my god, the complications are intense. So could it be true that there was a mass level plan that we're going to do a hunt to distract Shauna and whoever else so that Natalie can use the radio, but this is again alone's plan just for Mari,
Yeah.
saying Mari's my friend.
Yeah.
That's how it comes
Yeah,
off.
I think Gen is operating as a free agent here, and she's doing what she says. Like,
Yeah,
he's just trying to help Mari maybe get away. Though again, how do you get away? I mean, is
yeah,
there a provision for when the hunt ends?
yeah, yeah.
Like if you can last a certain amount of
Then
time
you get
without being
away.
caught,
Yeah, no, I don't think
then it
so.
must mean that the wilderness doesn't want you to die.
Yeah. Some bullshit like that. They could have that, but yeah, I don't think they do. But like, she is absolutely in on the radio plan. 100%
Again,
Genny's,
yeah.
right? So she does know that
When
they're
Van
doing
has
that.
been helping to repair
And
it,
yeah, so
so
that makes me think Van is too.
but
But
then if they
then,
don't trust Ty,
yeah, right. That's
which
why they
I
can't
could
talk about it.
see.
So yeah, that's where I start thinking that Tice is not in on it, even though there's not 100% confirmation one way or the other. So I just find that odd. Main character here, like, can't we just know whether she's in on the plan or not? All right. Anyway, continue. All right, so we go back to Mari running. Shauna gets hit with a branch by some mysterious person. Mari runs, bumping into Lottie. Lottie says, "Do you see where we are? You've been here already, Mari. You could let it be different." Mari says, "Fuck off," and runs. What else can you say to
I mean,
Lottie?
that's a perfect reaction to a line like that. And honestly, if you haven't seen the pilot, yeah, it's there are other instances of fictional characters, maybe even this particular fictional character, being purposefully vague and atmospheric when they should have just provided
Mm-hmm.
uh direct assistance. You could let it be different. But yeah.
I have a specific comment to make about that, which I will do when I finish here. Mari says, "Fuck off," and runs. Lottie watches. Mari runs, finally following into Travis's pit trap with the spikes, which we all remember from the pilot. We get the shot of the footsteps from the pilot. They show the eye on the tree, something they hadn't really established before this, but was in the pilot. So yeah, there's also these eyes on trees. I don't know why we didn't talk about this before, but yeah, there's eyes on the trees.
Yeah, but there's just trees have eyes, like aspen trees
Eh,
have eyes all over them. This isn't
eh.
an aspen tree.
There's also some like sculptures and stuff. Like someone did have to make
Yeah, the
those.
sculpture I noticed this time around. It was very from.
Yeah, and Blair Witch Project,
Yeah, well.
which is what I think of as the reference for that.
Yeah.
But yeah, From did it too for sure.
I mean, it goes way back.
Yeah, it's Blair Witch Project didn't make that up. I understand that, y'all. That didn't start in 1999. All right. Anyway, there was Wicker Man, for example. They made it up. Okay, sorry. So where did I leave off here? Right. I'm right. More of Shauna struggling, and we see that it was Melissa who hit her with the branch. And at that point, there's a horn, and Shauna says it's over, but Melissa says, "Not for me." And then she tries to choke Shauna, but finally can't because I mean she's like fucking alive as an adult, so like there's no
Right.
she can't choke her to death.
Yeah, because
There's
it's
I'm
all
sorry,
physical.
Melissa, but it chose who the main cast was as adults, and so
Mhm.
it just wants her to live. I'm sorry.
Mm.
Shauna gets up and says, "I knew you'd turn out to be boring," and walks away.
I rolled my eyes so hard I pulled a muscle.
Yeah, I know. It's yeah. Okay. So I want to make a few comments here. So yeah. So Lottie's lines, again, I hate to read too much because I feel like with Lottie, she's always saying even less than she seems to be, but like it does feel like at the very least, it feels like the writers, if not Lottie, are alluding to the fact that Mari was in the pit
Yeah, the Mari's already fallen
earlier,
into the pit. Yeah.
right? Which Lottie does know about,
Yeah.
but there was the question when Travis brought her out there, and there was the like Lottie walking on the branches, whether she knew that
Yeah.
that was happening or not.
Yeah.
This suggests that she did, because
Yeah, she
like,
knew the pit was there. This
yeah,
line definitely reads as, I know the pit's there.
yeah,
You've fallen into the pit before. You don't have to fall into the pit again.
yeah,
Avoid the pit.
yeah,
But if anybody's not bright enough to catch on to that, it's Mari.
indeed,
And indeed, it's very vague and indirect,
yeah,
and it couldn't be otherwise. As Lottie very nearly says to Callie when she shows up, you can't have not come.
right,
It can't
right.
have happened any other way.
Right, right, of course, of course. Whatever happens is always the thing that happened. Such profundity. Anyway, Yeah, the other thing I was, yeah, about that line, you could let it be different. I just wanted to say, like, there was a line vaguely along those lines in season two with the therapist. Like, I was just listening to the podcast where I complained about it. Like, she's talking to the therapist and she's talking about like having the visions and stuff, and she says something like, last time it became something different.
Mm,
And I was like, what the fuck does that mean? Like, what are you talking about? So anyway, this provides no illumination on what that meant for the
yeah,
record, but I just thought it was interesting they chose like a similar vague phrase for Lottie to use here.
yeah,
It does seem like it here it does mean what you're saying, which is like, you fell in the pit last time, you don't have to fall in again. She, in a way, like she's trying to warn Mari,
yeah.
which is like, yeah, you could have done better though.
Yeah, I mean, is it like I'll give her a really vague mystical sounding warning, and then if the wilderness wants her to
Yeah,
die anyway, she will.
yeah. That's probably what she's saying. Okay, so that's
I
that.
really wasn't sure that she was really there, but I
I
guess I'm
mean,
ready to accept that she
I can't
was.
prove that she's really there, but all I can say is like Mari's not one to have a lot of fanciful visions that we've been shown. And
Yeah, that's true.
you know, we left off with the cave, but like, you know, there are some in between scenes, so it's possible that enough time passed.
Fine.
There was the setup with Lottie in the pit,
Fine,
so I feel
fine,
like all of
fine.
that makes me want to believe she's there. Not that I can prove it. It's a weird moment for sure. um the fact that she intervenes at all is kind of weird to me, but whatever. So moving on from that, yeah, I just want to say, like, you know, this is our big like Melissa moment for the episode. I mean, it's only in the past because we don't see present day Melissa at all, as we talked about at the beginning, you know, and like it really, I don't know, like I'm still full of questions about Melissa.
Yeah.
Like it's so weird to me. Like this is what has to happen here, you know? And so I feel like the writers are boxed in a way. I feel like it makes sense if Melissa kills Shauna here. but
Yeah.
like but like they can't. They just can't.
Yeah.
It's
Well, the Shauna is gonna we don't know how long it's gonna take for the rescue party to actually find them at this point.
true.
But Shauna has to be really marginalized from this point onward.
Yeah. One
And
hopes
so
so.
someone else is going to have to come forward as the leader.
Yeah.
This was something I wanted to point out about this episode anyway, so I just thought I would
Say
tag
it
on to
here.
that
Yeah.
because yeah, like Melissa obviously can't kill her,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's pretty bold for Melissa.
It is. It is for sure, for sure. But I think, yeah, from what we've seen, like it makes sense that she gets to that point, and you know, I'm wanting there to be more than what's possible, unfortunately. But I do think it's a fair point about Shauna. I'll say more about that when we get to that scene at the end. Okay, ready to continue? All right, so we see the eye in the tree. We see Lottie, and then Van arrives and inspects the pit, which are shots from the pilot. Um, so we finally get confirmation that it was
The
Van, which is what
shoes.
we thought from, and the shirt
Yeah.
too.
Oh.
She's got
Mhm.
that. Forget what it
Yeah, the
says.
naked co-ed
Yeah,
soccer.
that exactly. Yeah, like from season one, it was like, oh, that should be Van.
Yeah.
Okay. So in the present, Ty says, we all agreed when we came back that we would keep the past in the past. We made what you might call
A
a
past pact.
vow or a pact or an oath.
A
Anyway,
past pact,
past pact.
please.
Thank you. Past pact. Protect each other and keeping the secrets. But Shauna kept her journals where Jeff could find them. She murders her lover. She mutilated her ex. The brakes, the freezer, the phone in the bathroom. All right. It's all Shauna's. Sorry, I shouldn't say it like that. That's not what it says here. It's Shauna's fault that Van is dead. Really, it's her fault that Natalie's dead too. Ty brings up what Shauna did as a teen as well. She fueled the worst of what they went through. She, meaning Ty, forgot that for the longest time, but she can't anymore. We can't keep letting this slide, or Shauna will be the last one standing, and she doesn't want that. And neither does Misty, who's also sitting there. Outside, Walter watches from his car. For what that's worth.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
That's gonna be building to something next season.
yeah. What else can it be? It's building to nothing
Well,
here.
I know.
It has to be that. But yeah, it's just weird. It's because the implication is very unclear to me.
Yeah.
What we're supposed how am I supposed to feel about that? I really don't know.
Yeah.
Okay. So here's my comment. So first of all, I think this basically confirms what they've alluded to several times this season, that they made a pact
Yeah.
to keep the past in the past, as she said, and keep the secrets. Okay. So that's cool to just say that out loud. We all agree.
Yeah, I mean, you've been wanting that. So
Yeah. Now I want to see it, but I think that's probably a thing for next season. It's the cut their hands at the Coke bottle moment.
Yeah.
Okay, so they even have an it. Anyway, but yeah, so then we transition to everything Shauna's fault. And this is where I just gotta call bullshit. I'm sorry. When Shauna goes, everything's Misty's fault, that's bullshit. Some things are Misty's fault, some things are not. Sorry, Ty. When you say everything's Shauna's fault, it's not. I'm sorry, it's not. Okay.
Stevie,
So
not
let's
Shauna's fault.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Or you mean Biscuit?
Biscuits.
Yeah, because Steve is still alive.
Right.
For now at least. Yeah. Exactly. Shauna did not make
the destruction of your home life.
Yeah, Shauna had nothing to do with any of that. None of that was her fault. All that stuff you did, like that's you. And you even said all of you earlier, right? So you're taking ownership of that stuff too, right? So like, come on, take some ownership of your own actions, just like Shauna needs to. Okay, Ty. Like, right. Like, generally, I understand what you're saying. Yes, Shauna's awful. I get
awful.
it. I'm not here to like defend Shauna, but like, let's at least be honest about what's Shauna's fault and what's not. So, just going down the list here. Um, Ty, she kept her journals where Jeff could find them. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
She did do that.
Yeah, it was an error in judgment.
It was an error in judgment. They were in a safe, but he got them obviously. And that led to the blackmail and so on. So okay. She murdered her lover. Yep, she did that. No doubt. No doubt. You helped cover it up though. You didn't have to do that.
True.
So both of you did actually. So just come on, you got to take a little for that. Not the murder, but you definitely were implicated in that crime.
Yeah.
Okay. She mutilated her ex. Yes, that happened too. You're right. Okay. It's Shauna's fault that Van is dead. Mm, you can say that like Shauna played a role in the events that led to Van's death. Is it Shauna's fault that Van's dead? I mean, let's look at what actually happened, Ty. So what actually happened was y'all decided to basically kidnap Melissa and bring her back to the house, which you didn't have to do. Under duress, threatened her with a tire iron, Misty did, and they tied her up in the house, right? You and Van had this thing where you were like, we got to kill somebody to keep out the cancer, right? And that's been a thing all season. And so after Melissa, carbon monoxides you all, right? Because you have her tied up. I mean, I don't really blame her for trying to get away.
Yeah.
Van goes in and she's about to murder Melissa because of this thing, right? And finally decides that she's not going to do it, giving Melissa the opportunity to stab her, right? How is that part Shauna's fault? I'm sorry. Shauna went to the house initially. Shauna attacked Melissa initially. I'll give her credit for that. But the idea that it's Shauna's fault somehow exclusively that Van was murdered is fucking ridiculous. The
It's
number one
ridiculous.
person responsible for Van's death is Melissa.
Yeah.
Obviously, she's the one who stabbed her.
Yeah.
Okay. And Shauna didn't tell her to do it or make her do it or anything like that. She could have run. She did
Yeah.
not need to stab Van at all. So, and all that stuff leading up to it wasn't Shauna's fault either. So I call bullshit on that one.
Yep.
Okay, even worse.
Oh,
It is so not Shauna's fault that Natalie died. How did Shauna have anything to do with that? Like, seriously, give me any element of that that was Shauna's fault. Seriously, I blame her for absolutely nothing that happened there. That was not her doing. She called bullshit on the hunt in the first place.
yeah.
And you know, it was Van going, nah, hurry up, finish the shuffle, call off the medical team to pick up Lottie, let's do this hunt, right? Van was encouraging that shit to happen, and you went along with it, and you all went and started hunting Shauna, right? Like, y'all didn't have to do it's. Shauna's fault that you decided
Right.
to hunt her. Really, is that true? And then so then in the middle of this, like, Callie comes up because y'all are hunting Shauna, and she holds the gun on Lottie. And then Lisa tries to step in, and that's when Misty tries to stab Lisa. Natalie jumps in the way. That's how Natalie died. So like Callie was involved, but Callie was only there because you were hunting Shauna. It's not Shauna's fault that you were hunting Shauna. You chose to do that. Like, she was telling
Yeah.
you it was stupid.
Yeah.
She stood up and gave the most reasonable argument in that moment. So to me, like, I blame her more for Van than I do for Natalie. Like, she
Yeah.
had nothing to do with what happened to Natalie. That is
Yeah.
absolute horseshit. You're rewriting history. Fuck that. Fuck that so hard. Like, oh my God. Oh my God. Like, all y'all are implicated in that, including Misty, most of all, for she was the one who actually dealt the death blow. So, like, maybe she's like happy to hear, oh, good, Shauna's to blame now. Yay. But it's like, oh, really, Misty? After getting so mad about Shauna not taking responsibility for her actions, now you're just going to go blame Shauna? Like, go along with this bullshit? Like, oh, makes me so mad. All right. Sorry.
Wow.
I just had a rant
That
about that.
was quite a it was quite a journey of
It's like
rage.
the thing that's frustrating about this to me is I want to be on their side. I agree that adult Shauna is out of control, and I like the idea that they're teaming
Yeah.
up and they're saying it out loud. And Ty is like teaming up with Misty, right? Ty wasn't particularly friendly to Misty before either. I was just listening to an episode where she's ignoring Misty's calls. You
Mm-hmm.
know, like she was maybe a little nicer than Shauna, but not much. Like, she's been standoffish in a similar way to the way they all were to Misty, more or less. You
Mm-hmm.
know, so like that part of it, that I mean, that's what frustrates me about it. I want them to, if they're gonna go after Shauna, I want them to go after her for stuff that's actually her fault, which
Yeah.
of which there's plenty. Like, you don't need to make everything her fault. Like, you know, like you have your own shit, and if you're gonna hold her responsible, you should take your own responsibility. So anyway, oh, all right. I
Wow.
just had to complain about that.
Wow.
Um,
Wow.
okay. The other thing I want to say about this is what they're trying to do here, I think. Talking about, you know, Shauna as a teen, because people have talked about this. Like, why were they so cool with Shauna as an adult
Yeah.
after this shit that she's been
Yeah.
pulling this
Yeah.
season?
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think that this, for the longest time, I blocked out. I
Yeah,
couldn't remember.
yeah,
Yeah, 100%. Because, yeah, why would they forgive
yeah,
this?
totally, totally. It's so, yeah, that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to make it, you know, they had her say, I want to remember you, or what, you know, like, again, like implying like suppressed memories.
Oh,
And so, like, I think that's what they're trying to get us to believe because it's just not after the way Shauna's been portrayed and this like mass conspiracy coup against her that they do at the end. It's like even if Ty wasn't involved in that, she surely knows about it because
yeah,
she was fucking there.
yeah,
The idea that then they would come back and just be cool as Shauna and shun Misty makes no sense. In fact, Misty is the only reason that plan even got off the ground.
yeah,
Of course, she was responsible for the initial thing, but also she came through in the end. So, like, she deserves some credit for that. It seems like they gave her jack shit for that, and they gave Shauna a pass on all this other bullshit that she did that would have kept them out there longer. So it's just, I don't know. I don't buy it. It's not working for me, but it
yeah,
is like basically what they have to do because of the turns they took. This is the challenge of writing a show
yeah,
where everyone's supposed to know everything from the beginning,
yeah,
but they haven't figured out everything from the beginning. So they gotta like try to squeeze it in.
yeah,
And that's why they tried to have them be vague early on, and that's how they're trying to repair it here. But like, I don't know. I know I'm just gonna have to swallow it because there's no choice. But anyway,
yeah.
I wish I didn't have to. All right, and then yeah, the Walter thing is like so nothing. I don't know what to do with it. I have no idea. So I got nothing on that. Those are my thoughts. All right, so you ready to continue?
Wow. I mean, I'm stunned into silence by your indignation, I think.
I feel strong. This scene actually like made me the angriest of the entire episode,
Yeah, I mean, I sensed that.
which is weird, in a
Yeah,
way.
there's certainly some things to be angry about in this episode. But yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with you.
I think it's like that thing I remember reading. It's like a quote from some famous asshole like there's nothing
This asshole.
worse than a bad argument for a view that you believe in or
Yeah.
something like that. Like it's like what that's I think why it bothers me because I'm basically on their side, but I'm like, yeah, but that's bullshit. Like
Yeah.
like the solution to Shauna isn't blame Shauna for everything, whether it's her fault or not. That's her fucking problem. So that's why that's
Hmm.
the hypocrisy of it is what really gets under my skin.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can't deal with it. All right. Anyway, back to the past. Van cries and Ty consoles. Van says, "This is our fault." Ty says, "We did everything we could. We did everything we could." Wait a minute. As I read that, I'm like, wait a minute.
Maybe there is another scene that
Now
makes you that angry.
now I'm confused again. All right, sorry. I'm like, wait. Okay. Van says it's Mari. Uh oh wait, sorry. Now I just remembered and I get it again. I'm fine again.
Okay. Thank God.
Um uh no more rants.
Yeah, I
They
think we can
stand
handle it.
they stand over the pit. Shauna says, take her out, pull the stakes, and fill it in because we're done with the pit. It's a
Yeah.
one-time deal.
Yeah.
Then she asks Van and Ty what the holdup is. We have a feast to prepare and walks away because
What a
she just
bitch.
has to be
She's so awful.
maximum asshole in every scene.
Max Hole.
That's what we get now. Okay. They drag Mari through the snow. We get some VHS effects here. We get more pilot stuff. Shauna asks, quote, Natalie to do the honors.
Uh-huh.
And Shauna reveals her face, telling them all that it shows, prepare her, and when it's done, bring me her hair.
Oh boy.
And they cut Mari's throat. Sorry.
Wow.
I'm sorry. I just
That's
can't.
really sick.
I just can't with that. There's just something hilarious about that line. Bring me her hair.
Bring me her hair.
Okay. Okay. So let me just go step by step here. I have a few small comments. So yeah, I think Ty is actually just saying we did everything we could to draw. Right?
Uh-huh.
We tried to rig the
Yeah,
draw,
yeah, we tried to
but
figure it out.
Sean fucked it up and it was Mari. That's all she's saying.
Yeah, yeah, I think so.
Okay, sorry. She's not saying we did everything we could to help Mari. Because that wouldn't make sense. Okay.
Yeah, I think you could have done more if you really cared.
Yeah. Well, actually, that's a good point. Because actually, Gen did more, and
Yeah, and
like they
yes.
didn't anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, so,
Like
ouch.
I don't really yeah,
All
whatever.
right. Well, Ty is full of shit sometimes. What can I say? Okay. So yeah, they're gonna fill in the pit. I just think that's hilarious after all this time.
Yeah,
They
well.
use it's the one time is the iconic scene from the beginning of the show, and that's it.
Mhm.
You just assumed there was more to it than that. I did at least. Anyway. Okay. Bippity Bob. Okay, yeah, we have fake Natalie appearing here. This is where, Hannah enters wearing Natalie's clothes. Um, and then, yeah, the last thing I was gonna say about this scene is just like there was a bit from previous episode. It was when Shauna was alone in her tent. It was right before she goes out and confronts Cody and Hannah, like trying to escape. Where I didn't actually notice this, but a few podcasts pointed out, when they were pursuing them initially, Hannah like her hair like catches on a branch, and
Yeah.
Shauna takes a chunk of it and puts it in her pocket. And
Uh-huh.
I thought that was weird, but apparently in that scene in the tent, she's like stroking the hair.
Yeah.
So it's like she developed this weird hair fetish, like
Yeah.
when the
It's
Hannah thing happened.
it's weird. Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It's like it makes no sense. But anyway, that's like what they're building on here. If it seemed random to you, like it did to me, or
I didn't remember that. I mean I noticed her stroking the hair and I thought it was creepy and
mhm.
but it kind of I don't know, I guess it kind of works in the like I don't know, ritualistic and to
Mhm.
be these, when people I don't know, like keeping bones
Yeah.
of your
Yeah.
victims
Or
or
even like the war
whatever.
thing of like
Yeah,
wearing
wearing it.
ears on a
Yeah,
necklace or
yeah,
something.
that kind
Like
of thing.
it's in that vein for sure. Okay, so that's all I have about that. You ready to continue?
Yeah.
All right, so this is all right. Let me get this right here. Yeah, this is our last scene in the present. So buckle up. And it's funny, I say last scene in the present. We cut to a flashback in the middle of this to the past. So it's it's sort of in the present. Then we get a voiceover that's then voiced over some stuff from the past. So it's a little hard to explain what's going on here. I'm going to do my best. Here we go. Shauna drinks out of a bottle and prepares some kind of hot pocket. We see another Lost reference. Sorry, JP, but they had to get one in at the end. Um,
Microwaving a hot pocket? Come
yeah,
on. Come
there's a
on.
famous scene with
No,
Pearlie
no.
microwaving a hot pocket,
Thumbs down. I
and he
thumbs down.
throws it
No,
in.
I don't vote that one.
All right, well, I don't. I upvoted twice to cancel yours out. All right. We see that she has been calling and texting Jeff. Jeff says via text that they're safe but need space. Please don't keep calling. Shauna takes out the hot pocket and sees a dirty kitchen. And finally, she sees something under the refrigerator. There's a little VHS effect here. Why? Don't ask me. But anyway, we see the note fall out of the envelope when oh right, it's a flashback. That's why. Sorry. Now I know why. Sometimes I remind myself by reading my own shit. Anyway, we see the note fall out of the envelope when Jeff surprised Callie after getting the tape. If you remember that scene from earlier, that's when the note fell out, y'all.
Yeah.
So
I didn't see that coming.
me either. Shauna reads the letter and I mean, we don't see the whole thing. They kind of like you see a bit of it from afar, and I read the first part, and like they do some close-ups of some little bits from it. And what you can take away from it is that it's pretty much what Melissa said. It's an earnest attempt to like let go and like make amends or something. Like that's basically what she's trying to do. Um, why did she take the turn she did later? I don't fucking know. That is a question for later. But anyway, what she said about the note was like pretty accurate for what it's worth. Shauna tears up the note. This is where
And puts it down the garbage disposal. Y'all, don't do that.
uh uh
Garbage
oh, she
disposal
puts
is
it down.
not
Yeah.
magic. It's not magic.
Yeah.
You're gonna end up with plumbing problems if you do that.
When she tears up the note, we get some flashback cuts from Shauna's past here, including like murdering Adam Martin and some other shit. And then she, yeah, flushes it down the sink, like you said. Then she cries. She is capable of feeling something, apparently. Finally, she takes out a pad from the Jolly Hitcher and starts writing. And we hear voiceover. So I'm going to read the voiceover, but I'm also going to describe what we see with the voiceover. So I'm going to describe what we see with the voiceover, and then I'm going to say the voiceover. Obviously, they happen at the same time. I can't say two things
Oh
at
my
once.
god.
Okay. So we cut in some feast preparation here from the past. Shauna gets like chunks of hair pinned on her by the others. They mask up, and Shauna's crowned in Antler Queen garb. We all remember that. The meat arrives. Shauna says, "Eat and never forget this." Anyway, they eat. We get some VHS bits here. This is like stuff from the pilot
Yeah.
that they're kind of cutting in. So like sometimes VHS is sort of used there, sometimes not. Anyway, okay, so here's the voiceover. I've tried for years to remember what happened out there, to understand why it seemed like I couldn't remember so much of it, why none of us could. I'm finally starting to realize we can't remember it because at some point we became so alive in that place that we lost our capacity for self-reflection. The trauma people say survive the trauma people get that right. The trauma people say survivors forget things to protect themselves because they were so horrible. But I think we can't or won't remember it clearly because we recognize deep down that we were having so much fun. That's the terrible truth we left out there buried along with the people we called our friends. Except it's all coming back to me now. The danger, the thrill, the person I was back then. Not a wife or a mother. I was a warrior. I was a fucking queen. I let all of it slip away from me. It's time to start taking it back.
Yeah.
And I collapse into a puddle on the floor. Where to begin? Wherever to begin. Um, So,
Yeah, so the next season is just her being a serial killer. I mean,
yeah, yeah, what could it be? I mean, I envy the rest of you who can cut to a season 4 podcast where I'm complaining about how they don't follow through on this letter because I totally think that could happen. I'll tell you. Okay, I want to take this in order. So can I back, or do you want to just talk about that
no,
now?
go ahead.
Because I have a specific thing I want to say about that, but I'm very linear in my thinking.
Just go ahead.
Okay, so I don't know why the kitchen's so dirty, but whatever. Yeah, so yeah, you know, the no reveal is interesting. It feels in keeping with like the general message of the season
Yeah.
that like Melissa really wasn't lying when she said that stuff, and like it's like she wanted to believe that like Shauna had matured since then and like become a better person or something, and that it really wasn't a sort of earnest attempt to like let go, like she said, you know, like her therapist said she was supposed to do or whatever, you know. And so like Shauna is like tearing it up, is like fuck that, whatever, I think is the idea. um but yeah, I think like it really leaves me questioning why she killed Van then. Like killing
Yeah.
Van doesn't fit with any of that. So it's like, what's the extra thing here? I thought we were gonna learn something in this episode to illuminate that, and we didn't. So that's why I was hoping the note would like help to understand, but it's actually the opposite. Like it would have been better if the note either didn't exist or it said something completely different from what it says here.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That's just a frustration of mine. I do feel like we have to see Melissa later, so maybe they'll fix this. We'll see. Um, okay. Yeah, it's like she's taken up the journal again. I feel like
Yeah.
that's sort of how we're going, because they did like journal stuff at the end of season 2 as well,
Yeah.
and it's like that's putting her in touch with her old self and stuff. um and then yeah, so we also have like comments on um like forgetting all the stuff, right? So
Yeah.
she's like reinforcing that idea that like, oh, we forgot all that. And like that's why I wasn't so fucking awful in season 1, because I just
I
forgot.
forgot that that's my natural
I
state.
forgot that I was real bad, and like, and now I'm gonna be that again. Okay. Now some of this stuff, I forgot what you were saying. I forgot what you were saying.
It doesn't matter.
Anyway, I wish I remembered. Okay. Now some of this stuff is like, okay, maybe like saying we lost our capacity for self-reflection, like,
It's a weird thing to say when you are journaling. Like, is it that you tapered off journaling as you started to have so much more fun and to really be alive? And it's like that's really not what it looks like.
that's actually a great point. What I was thinking was like, I was like, yeah, Ty and Misty both actually showed a real lack of self-reflection in that previous scene. So that's, and certainly
Yeah,
you did.
Shauna certainly lacks self-reflection. I'm not
Yeah,
sure that I would put that in the past tense, Shauna.
I wouldn't either. Yeah, that does seem like a weird, I don't know, but it's like, but like that, like I can sort of allow. I think the thing that I really am not convinced by is like we knew deep down we were having so much fun. Like, did anyone think that but you, Shauna? Like, I'm
Yeah,
not
I
even
don't think
sure if Lottie
so.
sees it as fun. She was giving into it, but it really didn't seem to me like she was
I,
taking it as
I
fun.
certainly don't. She certainly wouldn't use the word fun.
Yeah, I don't think
She
so.
might say purposeful
Yeah,
or meaningful or
right. But to me, that's different, Like, and so,
certainly fun is a very strange and jarring word in
yeah,
my mind.
yeah. And even Ty, like, I don't think it doesn't seem to me like it's fun for her.
No.
It's, her arguments are all over the place, but none of them were, it's so
It's
much
just so
fun
much fun
out here.
here.
We can't
Yeah, I mean
leave.
the alive thing, okay. Like we're more alive out
Yeah,
here, but also she just doesn't really build the case for that.
yeah, yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, fun, I mean that makes no sense.
So,
Or like we were I was personally more fulfilled. You
yeah.
can say that when I was living within the strictures of society before the crash and then when I re-entered them after the crash, that conformity and passivity that I pushed myself into was never as fulfilling as being out there, being able to take charge, to to follow, to not have to worry about social
Mhm.
mores or whatever. Like, but Shauna, you need to, here's a good chance for you to take responsibility and engage in some self-awareness. If you didn't want to live a conventional suburban wife and mother lifestyle, you didn't have to do it just because you didn't live in the wilds anymore.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's definitely true. Yeah, and she wasn't those things instantly when she came back. So it was a choice, definitely, to pursue
Yeah.
those paths. And it's like you could have continued to whatever you want to call being a warrior or whatever back in the real
Yeah, you
world.
could have joined the
Yeah,
Marines.
absolutely. Yeah, you want to go off and yeah, I mean, that's the thing.
You
So,
you could have started a wilderness cult, but instead of doing, growing honeybees and like burying people
mhm.
not alive, You could have like had obstacle courses. I don't know.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Or, if you all agree, like you'll just fucking kill each other. Whatever you gotta
Or just
do.
those trendy places that you go and you throw axes and break bottles.
Sure. Oh yeah, yeah. Anger zone or
Anger
whatever.
zone.
I don't know what they call it. There's a name for that.
Wherever Shauna is,
It's the
that's
anger
the anger
zone.
zone.
Yeah. Well, okay. So like I just think like, okay. So if we think through, I mean, I gave my best case for any characters who might be having fun. I think like um for none of the other characters can you really make that argument. Like Misty might have had like a bit of fun in the early
Yeah, I think
days.
Crystal and Misty had some fun in
Yeah,
their musical theater days.
but that stuff was stuff that could have happened back home. That didn't require being out in the wilderness. That wasn't about the desperation. The crazy shit that happened with them, I don't think was fun
I
for
think they had
Misty.
fun swimming around in the lake that in episode
Sure.
2.
Again, could have done that on a field trip. But yeah, so like maybe this is the irony here, but like it's really funny to say like, oh, now I remember who I was back then. Yeah, we lost our capacity for self-reflection. Um yeah, because we were having so much fun, and then at the same time, what we're seeing here eventually in the next scene is the whole crew uh basically conspiring to hide shit from Shauna so they can get the fuck out of there. And it's like, where's your self-reflection about that? Where's your self-reflection about how you were actually behaving and
Yeah.
how people clearly responded to your constant bullying?
Yeah,
And
she has no self-reflection.
yeah, it's just crazy to
All
say.
right.
Like,
Yeah. Okay.
at the same time,
Yeah.
but yeah, so yeah, what is this pointing to? It's vague, but it does seem like it's pointing to some kind of dark turn for Shauna, which is like, I mean, they've been building it all season. So let me say a few words about that, because I think we've been doing this all season, and I think, we've talked about it like briefly a little bit, but I wanted to get to the end to see what they were doing with Shauna before I gave like an overall like thought on what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Because as you pointed out, Shauna is like obviously morally questionable, as they all are in season one, for
Mm-hmm.
sure. But you know, she was more like Misty in season one, like a fun version of that.
Uh-huh.
You liked her character; she was charming, um, and like you understood where she was coming from, even if it wasn't necessarily always the right decision. There was a logic to what she was doing, for the most part. And I realized that what we're doing now, seemingly, is something that TV shows don't often do. What we have more often is the flips of this, where a character starts out as an
Yeah.
antagonist, and then like morphs, has a
Yeah.
redemption.
Yeah.
You know, that's the Ben thing, that's Sawyer, that's Spike from Buffy the Vampire Slayer. That's,
Yeah.
there's, I mean, innumerable examples of this. That is a classic
Yeah. Yeah.
TV
Yeah.
thing.
And something they have to bring in a new villain.
Um, and the flip side of this is, I think, closer to the spirit of what they're trying to do here, which is Walter White in Breaking Bad,
Yeah. Yeah.
uh, Tony Soprano to a degree. Um, uh, dare I say it? The worst version of this, Daenerys Targaryen. Um, where like
Yeah.
you
She
start
is.
you start off like liking a character
Uh-huh.
and supporting them, even if all characters are flawed, they make mistakes, you don't agree with everything they're
Mm-hmm.
doing, but like basically you're on their side,
Yeah.
you know and then there comes a point where they cross a line, and you're like, oh shit, you're actually a horrible person, like I can't actually support you anymore.
Yeah.
And It feels like that's what they're trying to.
Yeah, and it's really disappointing because yeah, I really liked old Shauna and I find this new Shauna really tedious.
Yeah. So like I don't think that, because I do think like there's some plausible elements to the way they've tried to weave this together. So I guess what I'm saying is, so far I like it better than what they did with Daenerys, which
Yeah,
felt,
but I mean that's a really low bar.
oh
That's one of the worst turns that any show I've ever watched has taken, if not the worst.
yeah.
So, yeah. Yeah.
All I'm saying is, the problem with that for me was that it came out of nowhere and it happened really fast. And I do think
Yeah.
that there were precedents for this turn for Shauna in season one to a degree, but even more so in season two.
Yeah, I just don't like it.
Fair enough. No, you don't have to like it. And I'm not saying I do like it, but I do prefer that if they're gonna do this, they at
Did it
least
not be abrupt and not
have laid the groundwork for it.
fine.
Yeah.
Fine.
And like I hope that they can bring Shauna into a more three-dimensional place where she is still maybe a bad character that we don't like, but she's at least like got some.
Yeah, one dimensional plus one dimensional does not equal three dimensional.
Yeah, with Tony Soprano and with Walter White, there were still elements there that could make you care about the characters, even if you thought they were actually pretty bad people,
Yeah.
and they do unforgivable things,
Yeah.
so like going forward, I'm hoping that they can lean more in that direction and less in the Daenerys direction.
Yeah.
um
I yeah.
but I do think this season was frustrating. Like I felt like in season two, like I actually liked Shauna's stuff in season two.
You
Adult,
complained about her as you complained so much about her as a young person.
yes, this is true.
Relentlessly.
This is true. Uh,
Unrelentingly.
um, well, okay. Actually, let me
Okay.
qualify.
All
Let me
right.
qualify that. That's not 100% true.
Okay, then I am over the I okay. I don't want to belabor this too much.
I understand. I just want to say what I'm trying to say. So like adult Shauna's stuff in season two, I mostly liked. I thought the scenes were good, but I felt like she was underused. Like that was my
Fine.
problem with her adult version in season two. Like she took a back seat because the plot was focused more on Natalie and Lottie and all that. And Misty got her own side plot, but like Sean didn't really get much. She got this thing of the van getting stolen, and like it
Yeah,
was very
yeah.
minimal. So that was my issue then. That wasn't the case this season. I can't complain about that. Got plenty shot. It wasn't exactly what I wanted, but they certainly didn't like underplay her scenes. Like
Yeah.
she's very prominently focused. So I'll give her that. For Teen Shauna, it's a little bit of a different story because Teen Shauna in the meat shed with Jackie is one of my favorite things in the entire show. Love that stuff. It's deranged, but I love it. Like I'm so here for that. I miss those days because there was great pathos in those
Yeah.
scenes. Um the later stuff where she beats up Lottie is what I really didn't like. And the baby stuff.
Yeah, I remember.
Um
I'm sure the listeners do too.
but I think now that I know where they're going, it kind of fits. Like actually in retrospect, I don't mind those scenes as much now because it makes sense with where they're taking the character. So like that was the problem I had at the time. I couldn't quite square it with my image of Shauna, but I think now, yeah, that actually fits. Like that bottled up rage. Like they've been portraying it very clearly this season. So anyway, that's sort of my new perspective on that stuff that I have after this season. I agree, I don't totally love it, at least so far. It's been frustrating,
Yeah.
but I'm hoping that they find a way in the future to like make it work. Just like I'm saying, I like the season two stuff more in retrospect than I did at the time. So, all right, that's the end of that. Are you ready for the final bits here?
I think we should do it.
So
Yeah.
we go back to the past. It's the next morning. They walk. There's maybe some knowing glances, and we see Natalie. Shauna strokes the hair again. They arrive back at camp. Shauna stops Natalie, saying she suspects that Natalie had something to do with what happened out there. Natalie doesn't respond. There's a shot of Van and Ty here, for the record. Shauna finally takes off Natalie's mask, but it's actually Hannah. Shauna is confused, asking what's going on. She screams, "Where the fuck is Natalie?" And they all look at Shauna. And Misty takes off her mask, and we retcon the smile from the pilot to mean something completely different.
Yep.
Because the Antler Queen wasn't there in the pilot. They made that clear and people have pointed it out. So this is absolutely retcon, but of course they are gonna retcon something at some point. So it's fine. I sort of don't mind the retcon. It works well enough for me. So yeah, this is the big reveal of the conspiracy, and perhaps that Van and Ty did know about it. I don't know. It was weird. They cut to him and it almost made it seem like they knew. It's like if they don't know, they should be like, what the fuck's going on too? You know?
Mm-hmm.
So that makes me think they do know. And yet I'm not sure if Ty knew at all. Anyway, that all is left up in the air. But I'm excited for this point. Um and so we'll continue for our last bit here. In the mountains, Nat treks with the sat phone to high ground. She opens up the phone, plugs it in. The signal gradually gets better. She picks up the phone and yells for help. And after a bit, we finally hear a voice say, "Hello, I can hear you." And thus we end our season with a potential promise of rescue. Huzzah! Just like when Naomi got on the sat phone at the end of season 3 of Lost.
And then the show ended.
Luckily, no one threw a knife into Natalie's back because she can't die. It's not possible. Even though I'm sure Shauna might want to do that at this point. Okay. So, yeah, I think we've talked enough about the conspiracy. I just realized that there's one more thing I want to say before we close out.
Wow.
Okay.
Who would have guessed?
So sorry, sorry. I just this is my last one. I want to get it all in. So the last thing I wanted to say is in that scene with Misty and Ty, right? Like I was ranting about my complaints, so I want to say something different about it now. Okay. My concern about that scene is, I mean, I've talked about like some of the connections. We end the episode one place, then where we pick it up, it's like doesn't quite fit. And there's a show called Lost, and there's this thing at the end of season 1 of Lost where there's this little conversation that happens after they blew up the hatch and stuff with Jack and Kate, where he's like, if we get through this, I think we're gonna have a lock problem, right? And like it feels like it's setting up for like some kind of like they got a cabal, and like Locke is like up to some shit and they're gonna like have some big conflict with him or whatever. Cut to season 2 and like eh, they bickered a lot. It didn't really come to much. And like, yeah, Jack had a big thing with Man in Black Locke at the end of the show, but like that wasn't even Locke. And like, so it was just, it felt like they were trying to write a check there. And then when they came to it, they didn't cash. So anyway, that's my concern about that scene, that they don't really follow through on it properly. Because it feels like a similar type of scene. We're gonna have a Shauna problem, and I'm just like so anyway, that's my TV alarm bells go off when I hit a scene like that. So I just wanted to register that
Mm-hmm.
before we sign off for the season, and
Yeah.
have to wait for like 2 years or however long it's going to take before we ever get more of this show. So that's it for me.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it's next season's gonna be adult Shauna. hunting down and killing people in elaborate wilderness, kidnapping people, taking them to the woods, chasing them around and killing them, eating them. Walter following Misty and Ty around to see it, while they try to find Shauna. I mean,
Mhm.
I don't know. And yeah.
And then in the teen timeline, they get rescued or something.
Yeah, I mean,
And the lead up to that, whatever that is,
yeah.
however many more hunts there are Robin and Britt really gonna survive?
It's hard to imagine doing a hunt after all of this.
I agree, actually. So, but then like they still need food though.
Yeah.
So, like, it depends on how long till the
Yeah.
rescue. So,
Yeah, I don't know. Questions remain.
so many questions remain.
Well, we'll see you in 2 years, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, thanks for joining us. We may be back intermittently with an occasional thing, but there will probably be an extended hiatus. So hang in there, keep us in your thoughts and prayers, and
And
we'll see you on the flip flop.
don't draw the Queen of Hearts.
Until next time,
Buzz,
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 buzz.
buzz.